and it's helping them tremendously. And I've been a big advocate of that for the last 20 years. More guys should do it.
Yeah, we've talked about in Kansas City, Tamba Ali, I believe
Yeah.
it's jiu-jitsu. He and George Karloftis train in the offseason with jiu-jitsu, and
Yeah.
Tamba's done a great job with some
And
of the younger guys.
Tom was one of the best using his hands.
Yeah, he was so good, man.
I mean, he's one of the best at hand combat that ever played in NFL.
Yeah, and seeing him work with the younger guys, it's like, okay, great. I'm glad he's still around, trying to help some of those guys out for the Chiefs. Sean Merriman is our guest. You mentioned '06 leading the league in sacks. I remember one of the first things I did for the station back in '05, the station I'm at now, was covering the '05 draft. And I remember the cheer that myself and a couple of others gave when the Chargers took Sean Merriman because they didn't take Derek Johnson.
Right.
And we really wanted Derek Johnson. Now, I didn't know what Sean Merriman of the Chargers was going to mean in Kansas City, or there would not have been a cheer. It was just I wanted to see the Chiefs get Derek Johnson.
Yeah.
It worked out for them,
did.
all-time leading tackler for the Chiefs in history. But I remember that draft and you, because like I was there working it, and I just remember like, oh, thank God they didn't take Derek Johnson. I'm like looking back like, man, I wish they would have taken somebody else.
Yeah,
not Sean.
He was a hell of a player for a long time too. He's lean now. He's skinny. I've just seen him. But yeah, man, they had a great pick with him, and he doesn't get talked about enough. I mean, not just his tackling ability, but what he brought to that defense at that time, man.
Yeah.
He was flying around, and a lot of that defense and the success they had was built off of his mentality.
Yeah.
He was just everywhere.
What do you remember about the draft? You know, Chiefs are going to be picking 9th, so a little bit more of draft talk around here than we've had in the past. What do you remember about that draft?
Just the process of it, and as a college player, you don't have any time off.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you declare for the draft, you got probably a few weeks before you start training for the combine. You know, and then right after the combine, you walk right into OTAs. So that first year to a lot of young guys is a blur. You're going right through. You get no break.
Mm-hmm.
Someone we call you hit the rookie wall because now you got more games. You haven't had time off, and then you get your first real off season to kind of look at the season, look at what you can get better at. And just really get your heels in.
Yeah. Did you expect to go that high in the draft? Sort of an ignorant. I don't remember if you were there or not.
Yeah. So they had me slated from anywhere from the 3rd pick to the 15th pick.
Okay. It's a wide range.
And that's it. No, but that's why I declared. I said because any one of those picks is good for me. Matter of fact, my coach at the time, Ralph Friedgen, in the middle of the season, you got to send in your draft grade, and they give you a draft grade back. GMs, the scouts, they all grade you. And when I sent it in, they told me that I would be like a 2nd round pick. This is in the middle of the season.
Okay.
And I looked at Coach Friesen and I said, 2nd round is a whole lot more money than I'm making now. I am out. And it just so happened that I ended up going, 12th overall to the Chargers.
Yeah. So you were there or weren't?
No, I got invited, and
Okay.
I didn't want to go because remember back when when I got drafted in '05, the draft used to be 8 hours long.
Oh my God, the first round was.
The first round was 8 hours.
It's like 20 minutes for every pick, and it was like, do we really need to do this?
It was 20 minutes every pick, and then they can reset the clock. And I don't know if you remember when Aaron Rodgers was that same draft class. I mean, he got drafted, 23rd or something like that, right?
Yeah.
It was in 20-something.
23, 24, something like that, yeah.
And it seemed like forever.
Dude, I remember Brady Quinn.
Yeah.
It's like every pick, now let's look at Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Every pick, now let's look at Brady Quinn.
And you got
every
and you
pick.
got,
Yeah.
and you got
Here's the last
camera,
one there. They keep going back to you.
You got a camera in your face, and I was like, no, thank you. And I rented a house back home in Maryland, and my friends and family and coaches came over, and we were all there.
But that was more enjoyable, more memorable than maybe even being there as well.
Well, more guys are doing it now.
Yeah.
A lot more guys are doing it, rather be at the comfort of their home, even though the draft and what the draft means of being there is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, one of the famous pictures that and videos we continue to go back with was a day that changed in Kansas City when Mahomes was drafted, number 10. He was at home on the couch with his family all around him. It wasn't him walking out on stage being drafted. He was at home, and it's an interesting point about more people doing that just to enjoy that whole experience with everybody because it takes all of those people to get you there.
Yeah,
right?
now the NFL don't like it because it cuts down on the TV time and, having guys there, and then, it's become such a big ordeal when the fans show up and you got a whole lot of interaction. I mean, I announced the Chargers pick, I think it was in 2017 in Tennessee, 17 or 18. And when it was in Tennessee, and I remember walking out on the stage, there's 100,000 plus people.
It is crazy.
I'm looking back and I can't even see where it ends. It just goes off into a dark shadow.
Yeah.
You can't even see where it ends. And the draft is become a big event in itself.
Yeah, the Kansas City hosted the draft a number of years ago when the C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Anderson draft that changed a lot for the Texans, that's for sure. But that was in Kansas City, and I remember just how many people were there. It was just so crazy. Sean Merriman is our guest. Some people will remember you and connected with Priest Holmes. Does that come up often when you talk to people from Kansas City?
You know what's funny? I did several months ago. I did Priest Holmes podcast.
Okay.
For the first time. That was the first time we've
ever. So did it get into hand-to-hand combat, or
so after the hit that I had against him my rookie year, I seen him in person and I never talked to him. What do you go say?
Yeah.
But you got to think I'm from Maryland, so I grew up watching Priest.
Yeah. That's right, at Baltimore.
In Baltimore. So, just growing up watching, he's one of my favorite players, and then have something like that happen. And you never want to see, especially a great player, any player, but especially a great player, go out that way or something bad happens to him. And now his host, his guest, his host, he brought it up. And I knew it was going to come up, but I wasn't going to be the one to bring it up.
Right,
I didn't want to do that because, it's Priest Holmes.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything, but they brought it up. We laughed about it, and I didn't know that Priest didn't look at that play for like 5 or 7 years or something like. He never looked at it.
Wow.
He never looked at it.
Wow. I mean, obviously, you think back to things that change careers and everything. And,
yeah.
And that's got to be tough from your perspective because you're just making a tackle. Yeah. And especially if I didn't realize, the fandom that went along with you and Priest. It makes sense now being from Maryland and that being a Baltimore guy.
Yeah.
Probably adds a little bit to that as well. There's some big – I remember, we were talking about the other day about the Pro Bowl and how it is now, and they're going to play the Pro Bowl in the convention center here and set up a flag football, playing and I don't know, man. It's a lot different than what it has been. But we saw one of the biggest hits we've ever seen in the Pro Bowl in a game that you played in with Sean Taylor and Brian Moorman. Like I mean, obviously it'll never be like that again. But that's when it mattered. Like you were there to show the other guy how good you were, and it was a pride thing back in the day.
Yeah, and if you look back at that clip, I was 10 feet away. I'm right there on the side.
Oh wow!
And you saw me backing up because that's what happens when you see bombs. You get away. You don't want to be in the area of that big explosion because that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And for me, like I tweeted something the other day, and it went viral and it was big, and I was talking about just the prestige and the magnitude of what the Pro Bowl meant then, as opposed to what it means now. And I think the whole thing came out about it really being at your door, and it wasn't. It's just a process of what is a Pro Bowler now, right? When back when you talk about Tomlin, like it was a dogfight.
Yeah.
To make it as a defensive pass rusher or outside linebacker because you had so many Terrell Suggs.
Donnie Edwards was a guy in Kansas City that couldn't make a Pro Bowl, and it was like, why does he continue to get snubbed? He goes to San Diego and he starts making Pro Bowls, but it was like he was deserving for a while but couldn't get there, but it was a prestigious thing to finally he got a Pro Bowl nod, man.
Yeah, and look at him, and Donnie's one of the best tacklers and playmakers in football ever.
Yeah.
At 220 pounds soaking wet. And to get that nod, it meant something to you. We used to go around the locker room waiting for the list to come out. Because we couldn't wait to see, even if you were second behind somebody, you felt a certain type of way. I'm like, awesome. Man, who the hell is Terrell Suggs, man? Like, why is he starting? But again, that's how competitive we were because it meant something.
Sean Merriman is our guest. How's the experience on the side of watching somebody play football like your son who's growing into one of the top recruits in the country as a quarterback? Yeah. What's that been like from playing it to people watching you? Now you're the one watching somebody else go out there and play.
Well, I think that God got something against me for having a quarterback as a son. I think that was I'm trying to look at what I did wrong in my life for that to happen. But there's nothing better, right? Because you get a chance to sit back. You could be a little bit of a coach. You could be your dad. You could be a lot of things. But having, something, a name that people know already, I like to be a little bit more in the background.
I see, yeah.
Like he was just playing in the freshman All-American game down in Naples, and I was down there. And people were coming up to me and said, I'm just trying to watch. I'm watching the game.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And at some point, if he keeps working and keep getting better, they ain't gonna worry about me being around. Hey, I'm gonna get a picture autograph with your son, and I'm totally fine with that. And
it's like, you're Justin's dad?
Yeah, and that's what I say. I'm like, I'm Justin's dad. Yeah. We'd be like, "Oh, Sean, what are you doing?" "Oh, that's right, your son plays."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I'm totally fine with that." And it's just,
Yeah.
it is, man. It's one of the best feelings.
Is it easier, sort of, because he's a quarterback, that it maybe requires you to be more hands off because you didn't play the position? So you're not there going, no, if you're a defensive end, no, this is the technique. No, this is what you're doing. Your footwork here, it's off.
Right.
Quarterback, it's like, well, I just tackle those guys. I try to break them down. I'm not going to be able to coach you
Let
up.
me get you with a quarterback coach, somebody that know what they're doing, because I ain't going to tell you anyway about how this release is supposed to come out. And it took me a while, actually, because the mentalities are so different.
Yeah, right.
With me, if I had a bad play before, I'm going to go hit somebody in the mouth the next play. If he had a bad play, I'm like, hey, forget that play.
Yeah.
Move on to the next. And so that's something I had to really learn as really a parent, not even just being a coach, but as a parent. You gotta learn those things, to press on him when it's time, and then also to leave him alone when it's time and let him do his thing.
Last one for you. Maryland has already offered him.
Yeah.
What's that process going to be like for you as the recruiting to different schools? Is it if he's going somewhere else, is it hands off, or are you sort of like, come on, let's keep the Merriman name going at Maryland?
Obviously, he knows I want him to go to Maryland. And the coolest thing is, so Maryland was the first school that offered him. Mike Locksley, who's the head coach at the University of Maryland, was the running back coach at the University of Maryland when I was there.
Oh, wow.
Mike Locksley is who offered me my contract. I mean, my scholarship.
That's pretty cool.
When I was there. And me and Justice Mom, we're sitting in the room and we're across from Locks. And it was the craziest feeling that I've ever had, because he said the same exact thing he did to me when I was 16 as he's saying to my son at 15.
Wow.
And it was one of the proudest moments. I mean, I was shaking.
That's cool.
Because but it was great, man. And then he got 8 more offers after that. And now it's like highest bidder. It's a weird thing going on here now.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Now it can be upfront highest bidder. Back then you had to hide the highest bidder.
Back then I had to meet you on the side where the trash cans are. Oh, you dropped that brown paper bag? Let me pick that up for you.
Got it. Yeah. Seahawks, Patriots.
I'm going to Seahawks. I think they win by 10.
All right, we'll see what happens. Sean, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it, man.
All right.
There's Sean Merriman, Lights Out Extreme going on there as well. Thank you so much. There's Sean Merriman. We'll take a timeout, come back. More Zone next. coming up on Sunday right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Joining us now is a man who has participated in a number of these, and unfortunately you're sitting here with me talking on Radio Row and not at the team hotel that we've been used to doing. Trey Smith from the Chiefs joining us. How are you, man?
Doing well. How you doing?
I am doing just fine. It's a little bit of a different experience for you here on Radio Row. So what are you doing on Radio Row today in your capacity?
Yeah, just trying to experience everything I can. Did the Pro Bowl with Creed Humphrey, and that was a really cool experience. Really cool to represent the Chiefs, and it's making my rounds a little bit this morning.
Yeah, very cool. How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good, man.
Health-wise?
Feeling good. Yeah, a lot better. Really excited to get this next year kicked off and going. Starting with training, being the best version of myself.
How difficult was the season in terms of injuries and things you battled?
Yeah, man, it's obviously difficult. I'm a competitor. Didn't like that feeling, but you can only do what you can do. At the end of the day, and for me, just moving forward this season, just want to be there for my team more often. I want to be there consistently.
Yeah, you've had some games where you've battled some injuries, but it seemed like it really just popped up this year. I guess it's one of those things where you look back on a season and go, you know what, it just wasn't our year. That some different things happen, including like you for yourself.
Yeah, man, I can only speak for myself, but at the end of the day, just trying to be healthier for my team.
Yeah.
I just want to be a guy that my team, this organization, can rely on and trust that he's going to be out there 100% of the time, and it's not characteristic of me by any means, and obviously it's very tough. I didn't like dealing with it, but moving forward, just want to be my best version.
I was going to say, like for a man like yourself that is so durable, it's one of the things that was a great part about you. Herm Edwards used to say your best ability is availability.
No doubt.
And you're that guy for the Chiefs and in your career. That must have been even like more difficult than somebody that may have battled some different things, because you're as durable as it gets, man.
Yeah, man. I don't like the feeling of trying to let my teammates down at all, and I'm the type of guy that's going to try to play through it. So, like I said, it was difficult, man. Just moving forward, just want to be there for my team, and excited for this next season, because at the end of the day, we can't harp on the past, can't look at it. You just got to keep moving forward to the present and just be the best version of myself, man. And ultimately, man, I'm just a competitor, man. I want to get back after it.
How you feeling a year from a year ago at this time versus now? Thinking about contract extensions and everything, a lot more security in your life and everything. What's life like for you now with that sort of behind you and knowing what the next couple of years, few years are going to be like?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of things in my checklist in my life and what I want to accomplish and what I want to achieve and where I want to be as a player, for this team, this organization, that I still have to accomplish and get. I think one of the biggest traps in football is complacency. You can never be complacent. I mean, you could be a 10-time All-Pro, a 10-time Pro Bowler, but you're still learning. There are things you can work on. There's still areas that you can improve. So for me, people might say success, but there's still so much more I got to do. There's so many things I have to be better at. Seeing how it plays right now, that I got to be better. If I want to be the consistent force, if I want to be the player I can be, I always say, like, we're always chasing perfection, but we're falling short. And for me, that chase never ends until I hang the cleats up. And I don't have that intention right now. So there's so much work for me to do.
Trey Smith is our guest here at Radio Row. Eric Bieniemy back in the building now. What was your reaction to see that EB was rehired?
Yeah, man, really excited. Obviously, we've had Coach EB in years prior. EB's a hell of a guy. I love working for him, love playing for him. Brings energy, brings juice, brings passion, and just really excited to have him back. At the end of the day, we love what Coach Nagy did. Love Coach Nagy, and hell of a coach as well, and wishing him much success moving forward. One of my favorite guys I've ever had as offensive coordinator too. But ultimately, we just got to keep moving forward. And obviously, EB back in the building, it's a different level of intensity and things of that nature that we're all looking forward to. And it's gonna be a great experience going back to work and play for him. You know what I mean? But like I said, Coach Nagy was great, man. I love Coach Nags to death, man. Like, he's a great dude, man. Hell of a coach as well. Great offensive mind. So just really excited.
Are there any examples or anything? We hear about Eric Bieniemy and the intensity and how he coaches you and the complaints from Commanders players in training camp when he first got there, and you guys, certainly know about. Are there any like specific examples or anything where you're like, no, this is what it's like when we talk about the intensity and the details that Eric Bieniemy and accountability is going to hold you to?
When I think of EB, I think about the first day of training camp in St. Joe's and that like 90-degree weather, deep humidity in the morning. And just doing drills, man. He's just barking, just getting after guys. And, for me, it's more so like EB's almost like a mindset and mentality. Finish, introduce yourself. At the end of the day, we're presenting that we're going to be the aggressors. We're going to be physical. We're out here to dominate. We're not here to mess around. This is business. We're going after you every single play until the whistle blows, And that's what's super exciting about him, man, is that's just what he brings. That's who he was as a player. That's who he is as a man, very detail-oriented as well. And it's just just really exciting. EB's a guy Coach EB, excuse me, is a guy that I have so much respect for and admiration, and just really excited to have him back.
Is it understandable where some players might view his coaching style as a little abrasive or
Yeah,
too
for
much in your
sure.
face?
For sure. I mean, people don't like getting yelled at times, but at the end of the day, with Coach EB, you got to understand he's doing that with a purpose. He wants to see you be great. He knows the potential, and he's trying to get the best out of you. And if he feels that you're falling short of that potential and that area that you can improve on, he's going to let you know. And for me, I'd rather be held accountable in those situations than to just coast by and my coach not tell me a freaking thing. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just hard coaching. Maybe it's because I played in the SEC, so I'm used to a little bit of hard coaching at times. But I love it. His intensity is one of one of the most unique traits. At the end of the day, like you just have to understand he's doing that because he wants to see you succeed. He wants to see you to be the best you can be.
Visiting with Trey Smith, the details and all of those things we've talked about from afar, not being at the meetings and film study or anything like that, and some of the self-scout. Was there a feeling like that had sort of slid backwards or eroded of some of the details, and EB back in the building maybe gets back to that level of attention to detail or anything like that? Was there something like that missing?
No, I just think, as players, we have to be held accountable in how we prepare and how we go into work every single day, and understanding that this is the NFL. There's a lot of parity in the NFL, and, at the end of the day, everybody's really freaking good, or they wouldn't be in the NFL. So your margin for error is extremely small. It could be as insignificant as a step this far to the right. If you did it a little too far, man, you're already beat. So for us, it's just as players, and like I said, I can speak for myself personally, just being more detail-oriented and being more accountable.
Does it feel like an off season where you come off a loss to the Eagles or a Super Bowl win versus the season that you guys just experienced? Is there an extra motivation? Is it just, hey, the same off season I take is the same off season, win, lose, because it's about being the best version? Is there a different level in an off season like this coming off a disappointing season?
I would be robotic to tell you if it wasn't, but at the end of the day, as a competitor, you don't want to have that feeling again. And as once again, I can only speak for myself. I know I'm taking this one personal. I want to be a lot better for my team. I want to be present for my team every single game, and I just want to be the best guy that I can be every single day. Like, how can Trey Smith be the best version of himself? How can he reinvent himself? How can he get better? Where can I grow in? How can I be better in recognition of plays? How can I be better in my assignment? How can I be better in my technique? So I think at the end of the day, that's what the offseason is built upon, is just figuring out how do you improve as a player? How do you improve your weaknesses and turn them into strengths? So that's just something that you have to look at and identify as a competitor, as a football player in the National Football League.
Trey Smith is our guest, right guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. We see the Seattle Seahawks that run the football. The Patriots run the football. Andy Reid, after the season was over, said the play action is not having the linebackers react. We're not getting that, so there's no threat. We've got to figure out why that is. So maybe there's a return to a little bit more of the running game or under center. As an offensive lineman, is that enticing or exciting to think about just the possible EB's back and an offense that ran the football a lot with Chicago, that maybe there's that element added back in of your rookie year when in 2023 against the Bills and Ravens and 49ers, you guys went heavier and ran the football. Is there something as an offensive lineman that's like, you know what, let's add a little bit of that back in?
As an old lineman, you always want to run the ball. You want to make them earn the right to rush the passer, and they're a little tired, or it's a little bit easier to pass pro. But at the end of the day, man, my job is to do whatever my coaches tell me to do at a high level and execute it. And regardless of what we call, it's as our job as players to make sure it goes. You know what I mean? So I'm just ready to get the plays. Period. I'm ready to get back to work. I'm ready to go play. As a competitor, I still have a bad taste in my mouth, and we have a standard set with the Kansas City Chiefs, and trying to uphold that, live to it. Help the fans out as well. I obviously understood it wasn't a great year for you guys as well, but I just want to be the best version of myself, man. So regardless of what happens, we got to be ready for the call. I don't care what it is. Let's make it go. And that's the mentality, going in, not just this upcoming season, but every single year you play a game for the coaching staff, whatever they call as a player, you make it go.
Visiting with Trey Smith, have you talked with Patrick and seen some of the rehab and things coming along? Because he's saying training camp and game number 1, I'll be out there. And if there's somebody that I would not doubt, it would be him, that he'd be able to do that.
That's why he's the greatest ever. Just his mentality is extremely different. I don't want to pry too much in this business. I don't speak on that, obviously. But obviously, I love him. Wish him the best. I know he's a dog. I know what type of man he is. I know what type of competitor he is. He's the most competitive person I've ever met in my life. And there's no doubt in my mind he'll come back stronger. So, I love you, Pat, and I know you're going to be great.
How cool is it that there's a protector of the year now in the
That's
NFL,
dope,
man? It's
man.
about time you guys
Dude,
got
they
some
gotta
recognition.
expand it though. They gotta expand. It can't just be one.
I agree
You know what I
with
mean?
that.
Because how
Every
do you?
position.
Yeah, yeah. You can't just do. I mean, how do you justify whether a center, a guard, or a
Yeah.
tackle is better in terms of what they do and what terms their responsibilities? I think it's might be cool to do it, maybe even more expanding of that. But it's extremely cool to see offensive linemen get any recognition. That's not a false start. That's not a sack. That's not a penalty
Yeah.
or a mistake. You know what I mean? Or maybe sometimes we get a highlight block, even though a lot of times they're missed. But I think recognition is just showing the game's trending in the right direction finally. And, it's just going to keep getting better. And, best of luck. I got two of my guys for sure
Yeah.
in there, Creed and Joe. And hopefully one of them takes it home.
Yeah.
And, it's a really cool thing to see how the league's introduced that. And you look at greats from the past, guys like Will Shields or Willie Rofe, et cetera, guys that could have gotten Brian Waters, guys that could have
Yeah.
gotten that award in the past, great offensive linemen. And thinking about, man, they never really got recognition like that. But, man, hell, one of those guys easily could have got
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean? So it's cool to see the game evolving, and it's going to continue to evolve.
Well, speaking of the game evolving, because guards are more important now. Not that they weren't important,
Yeah.
but it feels like they're more important because the evolution of the game, where it seems like teams are focusing so much more on those defensive interior disruptors, those three
Sure.
techniques, the Chris Jones of the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're seeing, like in the Super Bowl, there's a number of guys. Milton Williams got a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And when he's on the field, the Patriots are a completely different pass rush. So as the game has changed, like I feel like if it's a tackle, you can chip, you can give some help. Guard, it doesn't feel like there's many ways to offer help for a guard that you guys got to really hold your own.
That slide's going opposite direction.
Yeah,
Good
right.
luck, man.
And that's the evolution of the game, is where now your job is become more important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, push in the pocket. We talk about depth as a responsibility. That's definitely going to affect the accuracy of quarterbacks and their ability to feel the pressure as well. Tackle might get lapped around the edge, or he can step up. But if he can't step up, what it deems a tackle in his face, everything sort of breaks apart at that point. So it's definitely emphasis. It's cool to see my position get a little bit more love, but it's definitely unique how the game's evolving in that capacity.
Trey Smith, our guest. Trey, thank you so much for stopping by.
Man.
I appreciate it, man. Glad that you're healthy. Looking forward to a full, healthy season next year and a bounce back so that next year we're talking to you at the team hotel.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. There's Trey Smith joining us here on Sports Radio 810. We will take a timeout, come back, more zone next. Hanging out at Radio Row. Clinton Yates is our guest from ESPN, Clinton and Friends. You hear him on ESPN Kansas City as we're here in San Francisco, and the show is over, and now the car wash for you.
The car wash begins.
Yeah, man. Are you? Where's the fuel tank at? What's the level of fuel?
The fuel tank is about at half right now, but it's also like I need. When you're on a road trip, and it's not even about the amount of gas. You just kind of need to stop and get out of the car.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And take a rest stop. That's kind of where we are. So I appreciate you recognizing that. I got to sit down for like 5 minutes for a little while, but it's all good. So fun fact for your listeners, if you don't know, my mother, Paseo High School graduate.
For real. Anthony Peeler in the house.
Valedictorian and cheerleader when she graduated. So I spent a decent amount of time in KC when I was a kid because that's where my mom grew up. And the late, great Betty Jane, my grandma, she lived there up until she moved back with us to be in hospice. So I've been there, I've spent a decent amount of time there. And Kansas City always will have a place in my heart.
Awesome. My mom went to Paseo.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah.
What year? Do you remember your
1968, I think she graduated.
That'd have been around the time. I wonder if our moms
they might.
were friends.
I'll have to ask my mom.
What's your mom's name?
She's got yearbooks. My mom's name is Renee. But, she
maiden name?
I'm not giving out my mom's maiden name on the radio.
I'll ask you off the air.
No, it's all good.
Ask you off the air.
But no, she still has a place in her heart for Kansas City.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Is there we can talk, and I mean everybody around here, it's going to be like what's the breakdown of the Seahawks and the Patriots? And you know what? If the Chiefs were in it, I'd ask you that.
You'd probably ask me that, yeah.
But what I'm sort of curious is somebody like yourself that's a columnist, a host, a commentator, is there a sport that you just sit back and watch and not in your mind going, all right, what am I going to talk about this? How am I going to break this down? That you just sit back and enjoy in off time?
Well, I'm a baseball first person, for those who don't know that. And I watch the game at all levels. And college baseball and all of that, it's really cool to me. I think just for me, what the game provides is patience about approach to life. And I was just talking about this before, that baseball was a game that I learned teamwork from in a different way. People talk about how football is a metaphor for life and this, that, and the third, but I don't think football necessarily represents the same challenges in the same way. Baseball is cool because there's things that you have to do by yourself and there's things that you got to do as a team. And you got to do both in order for it to work. And sometimes you're in the spotlight on your own and your team is depending on you. And so that kind of metaphor for life is what it attracts me to it the most and what I cling to the most. And so we're coming up on the season now.
Yes.
Spring training's around the corner. These college baseball programs are getting their things going. I get out to Omaha every year to cover that tournament, the College World Series. And, pretty much so. I'm kind of a live sports junkie in general. Whatever's on is whatever's on, and I'll watch it to try to understand what's going on. Not because I'm some crazy gambler or anything like that. That's not my bag. It's just seeing people compete has always been something that I've enjoyed.
Did you grow up playing baseball?
Yeah, I played soccer, basketball, and baseball in high school. But baseball was the one sport that, had I really been able to pursue it and go to college, that's what I would have played. But, things were difficult back then in terms of the ability to family life and stuff like that. But, I've never gotten away from the game. And to this day, it's still what my favorite things to do is being at a ballpark. And even if nobody's in there, you know what I'm saying?
So there's something still romantic about baseball.
Correct. And so, I think about guys like Bobby Witt who play out there where you are. I mean, that guy's an old school dude. Obviously, his dad was a player. But, I feel that Royals market has been quite overlooked. But I really hope that whatever their plans are – I actually have a question for you. What are they doing with the stadium situation?
Great question. I have a question for you. What are they doing with the stadium?
Okay, very well. Whatever they do with that, hopefully can revitalize, if you will, what the Royals mean as a national brand. I mean, my grandma's favorite player was Hal McRae, just to give you an indication of where that lives for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Friends with Brian. Know Brian really well. Cool. So
cool.
Also a Royal, Cub, Blue
absolutely,
Jay. Played a long time in Major League Baseball. What position did you play?
I played up the middle, short and second.
There you go.
I couldn't track a fly ball. That's really all it came down to.
I could pick
it up off the dirt, and I could run fast, but I couldn't see it in the sky to save my life.
There you go. With baseball, I do want to ask you a little bit about the Royals. Because they just switched their TV deal because of FanDuel, Bally's, all of that stuff. So now it's being run by MLB TV, which means there's less revenue going to the Royals, which continues to sort of put them behind the eight ball to a degree. I felt like J.J. Piccolo and the Royals have, I think, maximize as much as you can with the resources that they have in putting the team together and having somehow Bobby Witt agree to the contract that he did and turn down what could be 50, 60, maybe $70 million.
Right.
He can opt out, but I mean, we see what Kyle Tucker's making right now.
Kyle Tucker, sidebar, overrated baseball player. I not to get too into this, and I don't mean to be mean to anybody, but that the problem with baseball in this regard that I think you're getting to, it's not that the Dodgers are richer than everybody, therefore they can get the top best players. Paying Shohei Ohtani, and listen, and if you guys want to get on me about how much is actually on the books versus what is deferred and all that, I understand all that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is it's one thing to have the money to be able to pay Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani all that money at once or at all. It's another thing to be able to overpay somebody like Kyle Tucker. And that's where the real difference changes in what the advantages of being super rich in baseball are. Kyle Tucker's a good player. Kyle Tucker is an excellent piece. On certain squads, Kyle Tucker might be the best player on the team. But $40 million for Kyle Tucker, I was like, what? Where did that money come from? And why do you need him that bad? And that's where the economic inequalities come into the game, is that they can afford to make mistakes that are expensive, not just blow out the bag on guys that are likely to be guaranteed good.
So ESPN had the top 100 baseball players of entering the season, and the Royals had 4 on the list with Bobby and Michael Garcia, Cole Ravens, and Vinny Pasquantino. Salvi didn't even make the list, but, he's going to a little bit older.
Salvi's had a great career. I mean, Salvi's the kind of guy that, for a generation of Royals fans, if Salvi's the guy you get out of that, you got something great.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that you have to kind of acknowledge, who he is and what he's been to the game. And I think people feel lucky to be able to be around him.
Absolutely. And with those 4 players for the Royals in the top 100, I looked at the other teams that had at least 4, and the Royals have the most with the 4, the homegrown or traded for prospects and things like that, of the 4, where the Dodgers have 8 players in the top 100.
Okay.
6 of them are free agents.
Right, and that's the thing.
That's where I feel like maximizing the value that you have if you're JJ and what you have to work with. They've got 4 of them, but they didn't go out and pay free agency for any of them.
No, they didn't. And I don't look at that as a knock. I think some people view that as, oh, well, if you're only out there plucking free agents, it means that's the only way you know how to do it. The Dodgers have a tremendous farm system. Let's be real. That's part of the reason why they don't have a problem getting rid of people or adding other free agents, because they know that they're always going to be able to develop guys that are going to come up and be able to contend for them, even if they're, just kind of running through them. So, look, baseball has a lot of issues. But the Dodgers spending money is not really one of them. It's just a matter of whether or not there's enough teams like the Royals that are willing to draft and develop and try to compete at least. And maybe they're not spending all the money in the world, but that what they're doing to get players is another thing. They're not the Rockies, you know what I'm saying, or whoever.
The Pirates.
Who aren't even. I mean, the Pirates at least figured out how to draft talent, but that's not mainly because they're at the top of the list all the time. It's not even really a matter of what their scouting and development departments.
I wanted to ask you before we let you go. I know you got another place to go to, but Joe Carter, guy around the Kansas City area, we talk with him from time to time. Getting a statue there in Toronto. You wrote about that.
I wrote about it. I went to Toronto to ask people why he doesn't have a statue. And guess what? Lo and behold, they did it. Big fan of Joe. I talked to a lot of his old college teammates at Wichita State, and he's one of the best people around baseball. It should have happened a long time ago. Not to say there was any sort of disservice, but one of the funny things he said is that people forget that this guy had 100 ribbies for 10 years in a row in the league. People see that homer and they forget the solid player that he was for more teams than just the Blue Jays. I'm happy he's getting his moment. He's probably not a Hall of Fame guy, but he is a Hall of Fame moment guy, and that's something that I'm really hoping he's going to get his flowers on. I'm really glad he's getting his flowers on, and I'll be there in July when they unveil it.
Nice. That is really cool.
Absolutely.
Clinton, thank you so much for stopping by. I really enjoyed it, man.
Thank you. Absolutely.
There's Clinton Yates, Clinton and Friends. Absolutely. You too, man. Get some more gas. There you go. There's Clinton Yates joining us from ESPN, Clinton and Friends. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue more Zone next.
You're in the Zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
with you as we are hanging out at Radio Row in San Francisco. And joining us now is Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. Get Up, NFL Live. You see him all over the place on ESPN. Dan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Good to be with you. How are you doing?
I am doing just fine. What do you make of this quarterback matchup that we have? I mean, I'll get right into it in the conversation because it's not Mahomes v. whoever.
Sure.
It is Drake May versus Sam Darnold. What everybody predicted at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, all the know-it-alls.
You nailed it. Patriots, Seahawks. Congrats on that.
Yeah,
man.
it's the only one.
Yes.
It's a really interesting quarterback matchup. We just don't see the journey that Sam has gone on happen in the NFL really often. Certainly a guy that was this early draft pick, and then he struggles and goes to a bad team, bad organization. Oh, my gosh, this guy stinks. And then kind of flounders for a couple years at a couple different places, and then all of a sudden gets this opportunity, and it's a rocket ship. And then, wait, he's not going to stay in Minnesota? Minnesota's going to let him walk out of the building, and then he goes to Seattle, who's moving on from another good veteran quarterback in Geno Smith, and now he's in the Super Bowl and goes through an NFC championship game against a coach that's going to be in the Hall of Fame and a quarterback's going to be Hall of Fame, and outplays him. And so you just don't see his journey often. And then for Drake May, it's fascinating because I think still there's some people. Drake May goes to North Carolina. And they don't produce high-level quarterbacks, but not knowing. He was a superstar recruit. He was going to go to Alabama. Went to Carolina because of his family, and then he goes to New England. It's like, are you really going to follow that dynasty? And there's two coaches that have, in the history of the league, taken over a team that had 4 or less wins and brought them to the Super Bowl within 2 years. 1, Mike Vrabel. 2, Bill Belichick. And so how did the Patriots again do it with, a young quarterback? And both quarterbacks are crazy talented, and it's really cool to see their journeys.
Yeah, see, I joke about the rest of the AFC fans that we're tired of the Patriots. Anybody else? The Chiefs. Okay, cool. Somebody else. All right, we're tired of the Chiefs. Anybody else? Patriots. Well, damn it. I didn't know that it was going to go back to that.
I didn't think about it that regard. Yeah. For 30 years, it's been the Chiefs and the Patriots.
Like, come on, somebody else, please. Sure. A little dash of Cincinnati here, a little bit, but the main course there. What did, the last couple of years we've watched Patrick Mahomes, and I have felt like, and there's certainly a decent consensus in Kansas City that felt like the offense is kind of, whether it's gotten stale or predictable maybe is the way to present it. Sure. And a lot of that has resulted in then, Patrick Mahomes is really struggling and he's gone downhill. He's not the quarterback he was a couple of years ago. How do you view Patrick Mahomes? Is he still playing at the level he was, that maybe it's not the scheme or attacking the way against defenses as they have evolved? And we see now Matt Stafford and the Rams are going under center and heavy play action when, speaking of the Bengals, in that Super Bowl, they went empty. I mean, no play action, empty. They've evolved differently. What do you see in how specifically Mahomes has played the last couple of years with the surrounding cast and the defenses?
Yeah, it's like a slow fade with Patrick in Kansas City where you can just see over the course of, let's call it the last 2.5 years or so, the demand for him to kind of constantly do more and bear more and burden more. And it's so easy for everyone to say, well, yeah, you're Patrick Mahomes. You can and you should. That's just not real. Mm-hmm. Just because you can and he has doesn't mean that you want that to be the course in the majority of an 18-game season and into the playoffs when everybody else is getting paid as well. And so I've been outspoken that, there's a lot of scheme things that in Kansas City I still think are – and have lacked. I've been outspoken, go under center more, put bigger bodies on the field. That doesn't make him a lesser player. I still think he's going to be at the highest end. He just doesn't have to do it for 45 snaps a game. Yeah. And I think it helps everybody else. It doesn't just help Patrick. And so Patrick is still the most talented player at the position. I still think he's the best player at the position. Are guys playing better than him over this past year? Yes. That doesn't mean that they are. It's just that maybe they're in a little bit healthier situation. They're not asked to do as much. And so I'll be interested to see with Bieniemy coming back and no longer Matt Nagy being there, how they evolve, and I don't think that you can live in 80% of our snaps are going to be RPOs. I just don't think you can do that nowadays. 6 years ago, they could, and they did, and it was great. It's a different era right now.
Yeah, and it's, I felt like that picture of him going down the tunnel was pretty symbolic because he's being carried, arms around, and trainers and people are helping him get down the tunnel. And I found it symbolic because the last, couple of years, that's been the rest of the team, and Mahomes has been the one under them helping get to the point that they were at. And it just eventually, figuratively, and literally gave out that he couldn't carry it any longer.
And he carried, and he also covered. You're covering deficiencies that you might be able to look past because the end result, the win-loss, is still happening, but it'll eventually bite you. And so the offensive line hasn't been as good. Well, why? Why has the offensive line not been as good? Did this organization forget how to evaluate them? No. And so, it's this. Why has the Rams' offensive line become so good? Do we think that there's this correlation to one has decided to put the quarterback under center and run downhill at people and no longer call the RPO as much. And so the offensive line has to figure out a way to take 2 people and block 4 people. Where in Kansas City, it's like, well, do you have to be as physically dominant because the quarterback is so good and can make up for somebody's stuff, but then the RPO will allow the perfect. So I think it's a mentality as well, and I think he covered up for a lot of that stuff, and I think it's a great opportunity. Yeah. I really do believe deep down in my heart it's a great opportunity for the team and the organization to take a step back and just say, let's remake ourselves in a vision that 2030 is in play.
Yeah. Dan Orlovsky is our guest. Mike McDaniel, in his introductory press conference with the Chargers, had a quote that we played, and it was like, man, you love to hear it if you're talking about Patrick Mahomes. And he said, Justin Herbert makes these rare plays, and he said sometimes an offensive coordinator, you can fall back and rely on that too often.
Totally.
He said, I can scheme some things open that all 3 quarterbacks can throw the ball, and we can't have a quarterback that feels like we have to rely on him making special plays to move the ball or score. And I'm just like, thank you.
Oh, totally.
Let's find ways.
One of my favorite stories about Matthew Stafford is sitting there watching him. We were watching tape together, and he tries to throw this throw in between 7 guys, and he gets it in there, and there's a guy 5 yards shorter open, and I go to him, why? Why do you make that throw? And he said, because I can and you can't. And he's right.
He's right.
But it's also from that perspective of a play caller. It's like, well, why do we have to live in a world where the quarterback, just because he can doesn't mean we should constantly ask him to do it.
Yeah. Dan Orlovsky is our guest. 12 personnel heavier. You had mentioned that. I found it the last couple of years really surprising because Andy Reid has been sort of on the forefront. I mean, he brought in the RPOs. He brought in the pistol formation and everything. So he has evolved. And in 2023, as defenses were getting smaller, they went heavy, fullback, Blake Bell. That's how they went to Buffalo, went to Baltimore, because they got lost to the Raiders on Christmas Day and said, we are a running, physical, and defensive team, and we have Patrick Mahomes that can get us over the hump in certain areas. And they won a Super Bowl. And since then, no more blocking tight end, no fullback.
Yeah.
They've gone lighter. They've gone RPOs, where, as I mentioned, the Rams went from empty, no play action to 12 personnel, heavy, run the ball, heavy play action. It's surprising that the league has evolved to what the defenses are doing, and it almost felt like Andy went the opposite of what was happening, because it felt like maybe Sean McVay said, well, this is what the Chiefs are doing. Defensive ends and edges are 12 pounds lighter than they were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Why don't we run at them strong side more?
Yeah, I think that the next 2 years is going to look a lot like what the Rams. I mean, look at what Buffalo has done in the last 2 years.
Drafted a blocking tight end in the 5th round.
They used 6 offensive linemen last year, and so a blocking tight end, and it's become a foundational part. And so I just think it'll be really interesting to see what this offseason looks like in Kansas City from that perspective. I agree they've gone lighter and smaller. I don't think that's the way the NFL is going to be played right now. Will it be in 8 years? We'll find out. But right now, I do think that the big bodies and the, forcing personnel decisions from a defensive perspective, you've got to have those pieces on offense.
Who do you think wins?
I think Seattle wins. They've been the one of the 2 best teams in football all year with them and the Rams. Seattle's the better football team. I think New England's defense can keep them in it. I just don't think the offense is good enough.
Dan, thank you for stopping by. Really
Thank you, bud. Good to be with you, man.
Absolutely. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone coming up next. Here in San Francisco at the Radio Row, we've got the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Joined now by Manti Te'o from NFL Network, Notre Dame,
Thank
the
you, bro.
Chargers joining us. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's been fun being here. It's my first time at Radio Row, believe it or not. I never ever participated in this, and I wish I did when I was a player. But it's been phenomenal. It's been fun.
Yeah. Good Morning Football. How's that been going, man? It's one of my favorite shows to
thank you.
watch. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And you make football, even in the off season, like you make it fun, which is good.
And that's our main thing, is making it relatable. We're not too heavy on the football. We love football. We try to find creative ways, though, to weave some pop culture in there, some things that people, a bigger audience may relate to, and then relate it to football, because we also understand that there are some pockets where they may not know ball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they know a Disney movie. And then how can I relate a Disney movie to the Chiefs? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to figure that out. It's definitely been a process for me, and a process that I've loved.
How's it? When did sort of this broadcast? Because it's as I've watched, man, I'm like, he's a natural. Like he knows what he's doing. He looks comfortable. When did the broadcasting part sort of come into focus for you after your playing days?
So I had an interview with Steve Weish, who is one of our lead chief reporters for NFL Network, and I had the interview after I got inducted into the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. And it was at that interview after we did it where Steve looked at me. He's like, "You need to be on TV. You ever thought about being on TV?" And I told him, I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, would you want to be on TV?" And I told him, I was like, "Well, I'll check it out."
Yeah.
He made one phone call. The next year I was at a broadcasting boot camp. After that, the very next year I got a call to see if I wanted to be a part-time host on Good Morning Football, and that was last year. And then I guess they liked me enough to give me the permanent seat. And so me and my wife and our two kids, we moved from Utah back to California in June, and now we've been rolling, brother.
How cool is it? You mentioned the Polynesian descent, to have that representative on TV for you.
It's always been a responsibility that I've held at high regard. When I was a player, from when I was in high school, trying to do everything that I could to put the state of Hawaii on the map. To when I was in college at Notre Dame. I'm trying to do all of those things. And now that I'm on TV, it's a medium that there isn't a lot of representation. But, for me, I honestly, bro, I just try to be an example to anybody or everybody. I'm not one that's like, man, I'm here just for Polynesia. It's like, bro, I'm a human being. If there's something that really resonates with you, with my story, cool. Let's connect. Let's make this world a better place. So I'm in it with everybody.
Manti Te'o is our guest. Does Kyle Brandt ever have like a 5 minutes where he's just chill and doesn't talk, or just like, does he sleep? Does he ever just relax?
I always say Kyle Brandt he's a savant, man. Like his ability to. So the thing about live shows is a lot of times like there's a game plan, but then there's a chunk of time where we're just shooting from the hip, bro.
Right.
Like we're ad-libbing. And Kyle Brandt has the ability to just draw information from this memory bank, from films, music, all of that, concerts, experiences, and then relate it. It's insane, man. And so you can imagine how it is for me as a rookie to be on a show, and I have Kyle Brandt and I have Jamie Erdahl, who I equate her to like my John Stockton. She's like the greatest point guard ever. And then what that does for me and my development in this career, it's been a blessing.
For a rookie, do you have to carry the pads for everybody else there on set?
I do have to carry the pads in some aspects when there are some extra work that needs to be done, and I'm the guy that sits there and does some. But there's not a lot of hazing, but I do understand that I got to get my stripes, and when KB says, "Hey, I got to go here, Manti, handle this for me," I do it, and I do it willingly.
Do you miss playing?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. And last night we got to work the Pro Bowl games. And the guys were so gracious to allow me to sit down on the sideline with them. And I was sitting with Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, Brandon Aubrey, Puka Nacua, and just being able to sit on the bench with players and just reminisce about those games of sitting on the bench with teammates and the conversations, the laughs, the arguments. I missed everything about it. And so I was grateful to have that walk down memory lane yesterday with some of the best.
Is that what you miss the most, or is it out, playing the game and those emotions and that competitive nature that comes through, or is it hanging with the guys and just shooting the breeze from time to time?
It's a combination of everything. It's a different experience every part of the NFL experience, right? On the football field, that war tactic for me as a Mike linebacker, figuring out the offense. Like, okay, what do they like to do? What are they saying at the line of scrimmage? What does that mean? Then getting my guys in position to make plays, then making those plays, then watching Drew Brees break records, right? Like, that's a whole experience in itself. And then there's the stuff that happens in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like, playing Smash Bros with the bros, you know what I mean? Ping pong, like shooting at the hoop. I always say the best memories for a football player are the wins at an away game and the plane ride home.
Okay.
That plane ride, some of the best memories with the fellas that I'll forever cherish with me. And so, yeah, I miss all of it.
Yeah,
I miss all of it.
I mean, is that part of like I want to be around the game still? So let me go into broadcasting, see if there's something I can do.
Well, this is the dream job. You know what I mean? So you're saying I can
preaching to the choir?
I can talk about football. I can be close to football. At times, be on the football field. Yet I don't got to run down on kickoff. I don't got to whack a 340-pound lineman. I don't have to tackle Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs or Christian McCaffrey. All right, cool. I just came to the Super Bowl. I've been retired. And I'm sitting here at Radio Row. I haven't played a snap in like 4 or 5 years. Yet I'm working the Pro Bowl games. Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? It's insane. This is not even real life.
If they signed you right now, how many snaps could you give?
0.
Really?
0,
Not
bro.
one snap on the field right now.
I thought I could do one series, and then I watched the Pro Bowl games last night, and I saw CeeDee Lamb guys move around. I saw Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, those guys, Devon Achane. I'm like, ain't no way, bro. I'd blow an Achilles, an ACL. The moment I push off of one leg, something's popping. I don't know what it is, but it ain't my football pads, and I go down.
Yeah, I am older than you are. Did not play sports nearly at the level of you, or really at all. But I can feel it in my like people play pickleball, and it's like, oh, let's play basketball. I'm like, no, I can't because I'm too competitive, and I know I'm going to push off. And now my wife is going to be so mad at me because somebody's going to have to give me rides everywhere. I got to pop Achilles.
Bro, we have on Good Morning Football, Halloween is a huge show for us, right? Get dressed up, all of that. I dressed up as Troy Polamalu, and part of the intro was I was jumping over this little gate, whatever thing in this prop, this little dummy prop. I hit this prop. When I landed on the turf, I thought I broke my arm. And I got up and and it was at that moment that I knew, yeah, bro, it's over. It's over. There were days where you could do that and you could get up and nothing happened. You just try to tackle a dummy and you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Stay on the side.
You're the dummy now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the dummy. Exactly.
I did, like 2 weeks ago, I was with my son, and we were walking down the stairs, and I jumped from like the 3rd stair down.
Yeah, tell me.
And my legs sort of gave out a little bit. I'm like, all right, that's so stupid,
See,
dude. Never again.
You're
done.
ahead of me, bro, because I know not to jump down that thing. I know it's like, let's go one step at a time, man. Know yourself.
No, my body's fine. I can do this. I do this all the time. No, never again. I felt that give out a little bit, so I don't want to get in trouble with the wife. As you break down this game, we get a little football question for you. The consensus seems to be the Seahawks are the better team. They've been one of the best teams all year long, and the Patriots are sort of fighting an uphill battle. Do you see it the same way, or is this a game where the Patriots aren't maybe getting enough respect in it?
I would rephrase that as the Seattle Seahawks are the more dangerous team. Their abilities to put a lot of points on the board and then also limit the points for the other team. The New England Patriots, in my mind, are the more complete team. When I look at offensively, defensively, not a lot of people are talking about the Patriots defense, who in this playoff run has been the best unit.
Yeah.
Then you look at both of these teams, Seattle Seahawks, the Patriots. You look at the Seattle Seahawks defense, you look at the Patriots defense. The Patriots defense in the playoffs has played more dominant football than the than the Seahawks. Not a lot of people are talking about that. I also think that with Sam Darnold, if Sam Darnold plays the game that he played in an NFC Championship, the Patriots have no chance. But if Sam Darnold plays one of those games that he throws multiple interceptions, the Patriots will win. And so I don't think a lot of people are giving the Patriots a lot of credit. I do understand and respect just how dangerous the Seattle Seahawks are, and rightfully so. They have a whole bunch of weapons over there. That defense is the dark side, and the dark side for a reason. But the Patriots, if you give them a chance and if you give them any opportunity, Josh McDaniels has a decade of Super Bowl experience. Mike Vrabel has Super Bowl experience, and I think that goes a long way.
Who do you think wins?
I think the Seattle Seahawks win the Seattle Seahawks win, but it's not going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be close.
Manti Te'o. Manti, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I'm a fan. It's cool to see the broadcasting career, burgeoning. That's awesome, man.
Thank you so much, my man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. There's Manti Te'o joining us here at Radio Row. We will take a timeout. We'll come back and continue rolling. We'll see who stops by next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Radio Row. Super Bowl 60 coming up on Sunday on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Right now, let's talk with ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum joining us here in the zone. Mike, how are you, sir?
Good to be with you.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. There's a ton of things that I want to talk about with you, and I guess the first one, I'll just jump right in because it's been a conversation for about the final 3 weeks of the season for the Chiefs and on into this offseason here. As you look at it from a general manager's perspective, what kind of offseason is ahead of the Chiefs and Brett Veach and the decisions they have to make to get this team back to where they were and not a 6-win club?
Yeah, some retooling that every team needs to do. But I think if you said, hey, here's 32 teams starting the offseason, including whoever wins on Sunday, they'd switch with Brett Veach and they'd say, hey, you know what? I got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Let's go. So, look, obviously the big thing is, how soon Patrick will be ready. You don't want to force that. Look, they draft a lot of young offensive linemen. I hope and expect they'll get better, and I'm sure they'll look at the skill player position. Eric Bieniemy will bring in some new ideas, but they'll be right there when it matters.
What do you make of the move that Nagy and the Chiefs sort of decided to go their separate ways, and that had been decided before the end of the season? So not a surprise that Bieniemy was announced before Nagy got the OC job with the Giants. But what do you think of that move where Matt Nagy is saying, I want to go be at least an OC somewhere, head coach, and Eric Bieniemy is now back in the fold as OC?
Yeah, I just think people look at their careers. There's a time and a place and an arc, and whether it's fair or unfair. I remember earlier in my career with Coach Parcells, Coach Belichick, like there's certain people in a positive way that cast such big shadows that whether it's right or wrong, person X is not going to ever get the credit. Matt Nagy will be at the Giants. I know that market well. He's going to get all the accountability he wants, positively or negatively. Like everybody, that's going to be his offense, and hopefully it works out great for him.
What do you think of Matt working with Jackson Dart as a quarterback? He's got a young guy to bring along and develop.
Yeah, very talented guy, can make all the throws. Going to have to protect himself better.
Yeah.
Part of being a good quarterback in the NFL is you got to be available. Something that a lot of young quarterbacks learn. I think Patrick actually does a very good job of that, to be candid. So I think it's a good pairing. I think Jackson Dart's a really intriguing player, and hopefully he maximizes his ability.
Visiting with Mike Tannenbaum, one of the things that I think is interesting about this Super Bowl is for a long time it was have a quarterback on a rookie contract and then build around him and get to the Super Bowl. Then, it's, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, doesn't really matter what you pay him as long as you've got that guy. We're seeing a middle tier contract quarterback in Sam Darnold. It's a copycat league. Do you think other teams may see what Sam Darnold did with Minnesota and now Seattle and say, well, maybe we don't overpay, or it doesn't have to be a first-round pick. If we can find that guy, put him with our guys, we can get the best out of him, and we can go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, so I think it's more of a supply and demand issue because, again, great problems to have is to pay, Patrick Mahomes $60 million a year.
It's too
right?
bad. It's rough.
Yeah. So I think the Darnold contract was more of like a marriage of convenience, let's say. But yeah, Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, there is that middle ground, and that gives you flexibility to do other things. But you want to get the best quarterback you can, and then figure it out from there.
Yeah, Mike Tannenbaum is our guest. What do you learn at these bowl games, the Senior Bowls, the East West Shrine Bowl? You guys were there at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. As a guy that's scouting and looking, how much can you glean and take away from those practices, and maybe not necessarily the game, but certainly that week of practice?
Yeah, look, they deserve credit just for showing up. You talk about you want players that are tough-minded and competitive. Well, to be down in Mobile, Alabama for a week in inclement weather. With a big storm and work with people you've never worked with, like that means you love football. So I thought there were a number of guys that really helped themselves last week, and I wish more players played in it.
Who do you think wins?
The Senior Bowl, they already played. I like Seattle 31-27. But
okay.
I'll do enough.
Gave a score too. I like it.
I'm going to do enough interviews today where I'll have it both ways. So
smart. Smart. Just take that little clip and go see this, and you come up with different scores along the way.
There you go.
You'll get one of them right.
Different MVPs. And, yeah, exactly.
So smart, Mike. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. There's Mike Tannenbaum joining us. We will take a timeout. We'll come back and continue rolling, hanging out here at Sports Radio 810 WHB Radio Row. Super Bowl 60 coming up on Sunday. We will take a timeout, and we are trying to catch up right now. I think Easton is doing some work. work, but maybe talking with Tyquan Thornton. We'll take a timeout and see if that's going to be the case. More Zone next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Taekwondo Thornton, San Francisco.
Men,
Yeah.
it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is
Easton's
Jeff
talking to
for
the lady
Heartland
right
Men's
now.
Health,
He's just
and if you're
standing around right
suffering
now.
with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration
we'll see.
and
I mean, we
embarrassment
have
ED
this
causes,
random
you should
open
call
spot
Heartland
right
Men's
now.
Health today, because there probably isn't a better
So-
resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing
you
like
get-
you haven't in years.
What's up?
So,
Can you give me like a small heads up for
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Taekwondo?
Yep, I'm watching right now.
consult and it's
Easton's
medically
talking to her.
advised
He's
a test dose.
chatting.
And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Game day starts before kickoff. Get ready for the big game with help from Menards. Find great deals on sofas and recliners to keep guests comfortable all game long. Score big savings and stock up on game day goodies. Shop a variety of snacks and drinks to keep your party fueled up. Make Menards a part of your game plan. Shop in store or on Menards.com.
City hanging back at the studio. We're hanging out at San Francisco as it is Super Bowl 60 coming up this weekend. Unfortunately, not including the Kansas City Chiefs. Kind of a theme that's been around here as we've talked to different people that have stopped by and hung out with us, Terrell Davis and Rich Gannon and Trey Smith. We talked with him a little bit earlier today, and his mindset and focus is just on the next season, not looking back, not thinking about what took place this last year. Healthy now, feels good, was at the Pro Bowl games last night. He and Creed Humphrey. Creed up for the Protector of the Year for the NFL and the NFL Honors and Awards. That'll be tomorrow night. So we'll see if Creed wins, although Trey would like there to be more specific Protectors of the Year with each individual position. Hey, you know what? Baby steps. Baby steps. You got the Protector of the Year award. Maybe eventually they'll give it out to individual offensive linemen. We'll see. That may be a while before they get to that round. It took a while before they even got to Protector of the Year. So we'll see. Tyquan Thornton's roaming around here. He may be back tomorrow as well. So we've talked with him to see if we can get him on the show. We think maybe either later in the show in the next hour or maybe tomorrow we'll hang out with Tyquan Thornton, who's around here. I mean, I don't know what for, but good for him, man. Smart, because I'd love to know if there's conversations going on with he and the Kansas City Chiefs right now of bringing him back. I'd love Tyquan Thornton to be back in the fold for the Kansas City Chiefs this next year. We'll see. I mean, they need more good players, and he was a good player for this team, and the offense seemed like it clicked a little bit more when he was out there. So we'll find out. Argentina is officially using Kansas City as a home base. So there you go. England, Argentina, which we sort of knew about. Have the Netherlands officially announced yet? And Algeria? Netherlands are there. Algeria using KU's facilities. So you've got 4 of those teams, those countries, and we're starting to see those teams then make it official that they are going to be using the Kansas City. And Argentina is going to be at Sporting KC. Using their facilities, England is England using the Current. So yeah, very cool, man. We've wondered who the countries were going to be, because I believed that the countries being here not more important. I mean, I've never been a part of a city that's hosted a World Cup, but I would guess they are pretty darn important to what it means for that city to have a specific, like, really big name country that uses your city as a base camp. And you've got one of the biggest in terms of the soccer brands in Argentina and England. Netherlands still, a good brand. Algeria there, throw them in the mix as well, just as one of the 4. But you've got a couple of really big brands that are going to be in Kansas City. And typically, if you've got teams that are following their particular squads, they'll set up their base camp where those teams are at the base camp, so that more people, you draw them to Kansas City to hang out and increase some of those tourism dollars that are there. So obviously that's good news, big news that it's official. Like, we've known it for a couple of weeks when word started to get out, but seeing it now official is really cool. We appreciate Trey Smith stopping by earlier today. Manti Te'o stopped by. He's on NFL Network now and making his transition from playing to actually being a part of the media. Dan Orlovsky, he said something that was interesting that, I asked him about Patrick Mahomes and what has happened over the last couple of years. There's conversation about, well, Patrick Mahomes not playing as well these last couple of years. He's gotten worse. He's not the best in the league anymore. And I think, there's some arguments, certainly from me, about Patrick Mahomes still playing at a high level and having to sort of drag the Chiefs to certain levels of success that are attainable based solely and almost solely, sometimes solely, on Patrick Mahomes' ability to create. And Dan Orlovsky said there's been, over the last year and a half, a, quote, demand for him to do more and put more of a burden on him. And we've seen that. And that has to be added in the context of what we've seen from Patrick Mahomes the last couple of years, which I think makes it even more vital. As we asked Trey Smith, and he said, look, I'm an offensive lineman. I always want to run the football. And his big fun laugh that Trey Smith gives. That I'm like, from your perspective as an offensive lineman to run the football a little bit more, get under center. Maybe that's the way that the Chiefs and the offense may evolve. Is that something that, you'd like to see? And of course, he's like, look, as an offensive lineman, I always want to run the football. Let's go. Let's make the defense earn the right to rush the passer. I love that. That's a great line. Make them earn the right to rush the passer by being able to run it. And we've seen teams do that a lot and go heavier. And I have to believe we are going to see that be incorporated with the Chiefs next year, which will take, hopefully, some of that burden off Patrick Mahomes. And it will be one of those, if you want to call it revenge tours, I don't care, whatever people want to call it. It'll just be a season, okay? Just the 2026 season. Put a name on it. The revenge tour after they lost to the Bengals, the going for back-to-back, the repeat, the three-peat attempt, trying to go to 4 straight Super Bowls, whatever you want to call it, or put a label on it. But I think there's going to be an added element of urgency with the club, and there has to be. This is a massive opportunity this offseason. And we're here at the Super Bowl, and we're seeing how quickly things can change. From the Patriots being a 4-win team a year ago, from the Seahawks being a team that they were a couple of years ago, to now these teams are playing in the Super Bowl. And playing, in the AFC against the Denver Broncos, that they had to go and get Sean Payton a couple of years ago, give up a first-round draft pick for him, trade for Sean Payton. And then try to get out from underneath the Russell Wilson contract and how rough that is. Like, we're seeing the rebuilds aren't taking as long. And the Raiders look like they might be figuring some things out. And I know a year ago we felt that with Pete Carroll, that it felt like they had an adult in the room finally. That, hey, you got Pete Carroll. There's somebody to help you be a little more organized and on task. That didn't work out. Clint Kubiak is certainly a good head coach, offensive mind prospect, and he's done a lot with the Seattle Seahawks offense and Sam Darnold. And then he'll have Fernando Mendoza to work with as well, with Ashton Genty and Bowers. We'll see what the Raiders end up doing. We'll see how quickly they can get it turned around. But if they bring in Clint Kubiak, you've got a guy that, is viewed as one of the up-and-coming minds in the NFL and offense, along with Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh, to go along in the AFC West. I mean, the AFC West is getting more and more and more difficult, and this is, you evolve or you get better, you get worse. And the Chiefs obviously got worse from their 3rd straight Super Bowl, which is tough to do. I mean, obviously, there's a spoiled mentality there with that as I say it, and understanding that, they got worse from going to 3 straight Super Bowls. It's hard to get better than that except for, winning 3 straight. But there were so many other things along with it. It wasn't just injuries. Seth Kaiser did a great job breaking down at Chief in the North when people are talking about injuries. And he's like, actually, when they were the healthiest is when they played the poorest, when they weren't as good. They were healthy, not as good. Not healthy, they played a little bit better. I mean, they played well against the Raiders and Commanders with Rashee Rice and those guys, but they've had a couple of rough games when they were pretty healthy too. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We are hanging out here at Radio Row. We're going to talk with, coming up at 1 o'clock, Kevin Nagandi from ESPN. We're going to hang out with Scott Graham from Westwood One. We really enjoyed the interview last year that we had with Scott Graham, the studio host for Westwood One. And then, later on in the hour, we're going to be joined by Jeff Garcia, which is an interesting sort of tie-in from Drake May did not replace Tom Brady, okay? There were a couple of years between Tom Brady and Drake May, obviously. But it's getting back to the Super Bowl for the Patriots when Tom Brady has been the guy that has taken them to the Super Bowl. So he's kind of the guy replacing the guy. He's the first one they have drafted to sort of make the guy to replace Tom Brady. Well, Jeff Garcia was the guy to replace Steve Young. I mean, they went Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jeff Garcia. So, interesting is what life was like from that perspective with him. We'll talk with him later on in the show. We'll take a timeout, come back, hanging out at Radio Row. Super Bowl 60 coming up on Sunday at Sports Radio 810 WHB. We will take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. on the show, and we have had a jam-packed show so far with Terrell Davis and Rich Gannon and Clinton Yates and Dan Orlovsky and Manti Te'o and Mike Tannenbaum and Trey Smith stopped by as well to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, to talk about this past season, to talk about Eric Bieniemy returning and using the details and how tough he will be as a coach and how demanding he is as a coach. Now also offering the nothing taken away from Matt Nagy. Love Matt Nagy, one of my favorite coaches I've ever had. And now just moving on to the next sort of, iteration, if you want to call it that, era. I don't know. Certainly seems like there's a difference in the era from 5 of 6 Super Bowls to missing the playoffs to being in the position they are right now. But we've talked a lot about, heavy personnel and 12 personnel and things and getting into the, inside baseball stuff that we've been discussing. And, it kind of goes back to one of the things that I was talking about yesterday with explosive plays and things like that, that is part of the issues that I've seen from the Chiefs and what the other teams have been able to do. We'll get back into more of that as the show progresses here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. But very pleased to be joined now by Kevin Negandhi from ESPN, joining us here in the zone. Kevin, how are you, sir?
Good to see you, Jason. I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing just fine. A big fan, so you look just as good in person as you do on TV.
Appreciate that,
yes,
yeah.
I mean,
it's the lighting, all right?
That right?
Yeah.
Is it nice on a day when you don't have to put on the makeup and do the whole, prep for a camera?
Oh, no, actually, I've got to go in a couple hours. Sports Center live from the Super Bowl at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to have Justin Jefferson on. But, there are days that, you wake up and you're like, all right, nothing. I'm not doing it, especially on a Saturday and Sunday. And I'm going to a kid's basketball game or a kid's baseball game, one of my sons, and I'm like, I'm good.
How nice is that? Because I've got a son that's 10 that's in baseball and basketball. Daughter's 6 and she's softball and basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, all week long, it's weird. I love my job. I love what I do. Dream job. But I'll sit back and my wife and I'll talk about it like, I can't wait for Saturday to get here so we can go watch the games.
Jason, to your point, my oldest has a game tonight. He's 13, and I'm going to be watching it on Game Changer.
Dude, that Game Changer.
It's a game changer.
100%.
And we've got 3 kids, two boys and a daughter, and we talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm in that window. I have 13, 11, and 9. I'm in that window where they still like me.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to coach them. I coached them last year in Cooperstown when they went for a week and played baseball together. The 11 and 13-year-old played together, and it was probably the last time. And then, so to me, it's the best thing. The weekends are the best thing. And when we miss their games, it is it takes a piece of me where I'm like, man, I got to now wait a whole week to get to that moment again. So there's nothing better.
I'm with you. I was at Final Four last year, and who I was with the company, and they were getting ready to go get dinner, and they're like, "Are you going to join us?" I said, "No, I'm going to head back to the hotel room and watch my son on Game Changer."
Yes,
he's got a game today. They were like, "Really?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah." Like that's no, I'm
that's
not going to dinner.
That's what we do.
No,
exactly.
Grab dinner, have it in the hotel room, and watch Game Changer.
Absolutely.
See what happens, because I'm also the third base coach, so I'm like, then judging the third base coach, like, how do you not send them?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, come on, you got to tag there.
Yes.
I mean, you got to remind them they're 10 to tag every time.
Without question.
It is a blast. I didn't know that I would have this much fun. Being a part of watching as
that's what it's all about, I think, honestly, and I think the advancement of technology gives us these opportunities that I kind of wish that our parents had in a previous generation. But if we could be a part of it and make sure that, hey, we're with you the entire time, we understand what you're going through, and hey, my oldest had something the other day and it didn't go well. And I was like, all right, well, I already know what we're going to do. I watched it and we're going to break it down. My middle one was playing defense and he collided. And we didn't have this on Game Changer, this game. And I was so ticked off. He collided with another kid playing defense. He had a big shiner after the game. They won the game. And I was like, and he was so proud of it. I was like, I wish I saw that. My wife was like, you're not worried about it getting hurt? I was like, no, he's playing defense. I love that. And he's okay.
He's aggressive.
Yeah. And so I I live through them. I think they love it. And when I say I live through them, I'm not trying to relive my dreams. I'm living through them and sharing these conversations with them because it's a connection that and a core memory that you're going to have with your child. Because as they get older, especially with social media and screens, there's a disconnect, right? Where dad, mom can't relate to me, and I'm holding on for as long as possible.
You know, Kevin Nagandi is our guest, and I feel like I want to talk about this more than sports, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
I talked a ton of sports today, and yesterday we'll do it the next couple days. But I find myself trying to, and my wife and I talk about the balance of like, I want them to have fun and play.
Yeah.
But there's also a level of like teaching and instilling that if you want to be good, you do have to work at it. You do have to commit to it. And so it's like, where's the balance of like, no, we're going to the batting cage because he loves baseball. Baseball and basketball are 2 sports. And I mean, he does baseball 3 nights a week in the winter.
Yeah.
He does basketball the other 2 nights, and then basketball tournaments on the weekend. Luckily, he loves it. But there was a time when it was like he didn't want to go to baseball practice. And I'm like, look, here's the thing, dude, or basketball practice. I'm like, it's your choice. You don't have to play.
Yes.
But know this. If you're not playing, you're not going to be on your iPad all night. You're going to be in math club, science club. You're going to be doing other things because you will be successful, and you're going to have to work to be successful. So you choose what you want to do and what you love. Is it sports? We're going to work with you in sports and do everything to make you as successful as possible. If it's not, it ain't going to be on your iPad.
Yep.
Just know that.
Jason,
but also keeping the fun, like not having him get burned out, is that balance.
I think anybody that's listening to this is in complete agreement because we're all having the same conversations in our house that, hey, that doesn't mean longer screen times.
Yeah.
Because some of the activities you're doing actually take you away from screens, and we want that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've leaned into that. And I've also leaned into the idea that, hey, you don't want to go to that extra batting practice? Don't come to me in the spring saying, well, I need to get a bigger bat or a better bat to hit the ball farther. I'm like, no. No, it comes through the constant muscle memory reps that you have to do now. And so we have this conversation multiple times, and I've talked to them. But one of the things that I want to make sure is I don't flood them with too much information. 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
Then we come back and say, how do we get better?
Yeah.
You tell me what you think we need to do. I'll give you my opinion, and then understand that we're going to have to do the work.
Yeah.
When no one else is paying attention,
Right.
when it's not glamorous and everybody's looking, that's when you get better. And I think what that does is it doesn't – listen, we all have these dreams and aspirations for our kids having success, and they want to be like the next superstar. But what it does is it builds a foundation for work ethic more than anything else.
Exactly.
You want to get somewhere, you have to put in the time to get to this point.
And that's where I'm like, I want to instill that in them without them getting burned out.
Exactly.
So how do you do that?
That's tough. That's very tough. So, what we've suggested too now, especially at their age, we've got them in the tennis.
Okay.
We've got them into a couple of like jiu-jitsu. We've tried a couple other things. It's just, hey, do you like that? So they are diehard baseball, football, basketball. They're all three. They're all in, and my daughter's in the tennis and cheerleading, and we're like, hey, we will carve out as much time now. Then we'll go to the specialization later on. But let's try it now.
Yep.
Let's try this. Let's try lacrosse. Let's try the skiing's a big deal because where we live. So my 11-year-old, absolutely, I can't get him off. Like, and it snows out. Take me to the ski resort. Or it's not a resort, but take me to the mountain. I'm like, all right, we'll go. That's the stuff now to explore.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've avoided burnout on one sport.
No, that's really
Let's
cool.
try this. Let's try this. Because they all cross-promote. You can get one thing,
absolutely,
and that'll make you better here where you don't realize it.
Well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes talks about it. I mean, I broke down a play that he had against the Bucs when he ran right, spun, and then flipped the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I'm like, do you understand he's running to his right as a basketball player? He's dribbling. He spun, and then he shot the floater in the lane.
Exactly.
That's the football play, but that's from the basketball court.
Without question.
Yes. Playing shortstop, the sidearm throws, and the different angles, all of that sort of combines. What sport are your kids going pro in? Because my son's going to be – he's going to have to choose between basketball and baseball.
Yes.
Which one he wants to play pro in. It's going to be a tough decision.
So my oldest wants to be – he's going to be an NFL player. I've reminded him multiple times, have you seen the size of your father? I'm just going to have 6 feet, 185 pounds. And I've let him know. I was like, hey, we could do it. Ladd McConkey, who's a friend. I'm like, Ladd McConkey was like 5'4", 140 pounds in high school. I was like, we could find a way, but he had to outwork everybody.
Yes, exactly.
My middle child is going to be a baseball player. Okay. He's going to be a first-round pick by the Phillies.
Makes sense.
And then after that, he'll go to ESPN. And I've given him the idea that, hey, I cannot promise that ESPN's going to even have human beings by the time you're ready to do this. AI is going to be delivering highlights in 20 years.
I like how you kind of set the expectation for him by saying ESPN may not be attainable. First round draft by the Phillies, and then ESPN.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get too excited about the ESPN part.
Well, I'm an expert in that part.
Phillies, totally. That's
Phillies
happening.
is total.
First round
Yes.
Phillies, yes.
Yeah.
Barreling towards that already. I can see it. Kevin Nagandi is our guest. I mean, I don't want to talk sports, really. What assignment have you loved to do? Like, you do so many different things, but is there one you're like, oh, this is awesome. I get to do this.
Wow. That's really a good question. I've been really lucky. I hate to say and just start saying a whole, but like NBA draft the last 4 years on ABC, seeing these young men realize their dreams. We get to share their stories. The NFL draft. I'm a huge college football and NFL nerd, but to me, my favorite thing is being on ABC every Sunday. I mean, every Saturday with college football.
Yeah.
And Booger McFarland and I, we have the SEC. We've got, we had a phenomenal year this year with the record-breaking numbers of watching us. And to be able to be in studio, watch all the games, and you're with a great crew, and you're 13 hours in studio, and you're having a blast. You get to react, go pregame, postgame, halftimes, and it's like, let's just keep going. Let's just keep going in these great games. I'm just really lucky. My wife tells me, and listen, the 6 p.m. Sports Center is my bread and butter. I love it. I love it every single day because it's different. My wife tells me, she's like, it's not fair what you do on Saturdays. I'm like, why? She's like, because you smile and laugh the entire time and you sit there and watch football. And I'm like, that's a pretty good gig. I'm really lucky.
It's not too bad. Yeah, Dude Perfect. You've got some things with that. That's
those
pretty cool.
Those guys were great, and that was a great time in Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Nagandi is our guest. Who do you think wins on Sunday?
I got the Seahawks. And I think it's going to be very close. I think defensive front line is going to dictate the way this game goes. The defensive tackles on both sides can push, and they can create some havoc. And I think Darnold's going to play really, really tentative in the beginning to get comfortable. I'm curious to see what, Drake May's shoulder looks like. But to me, this is going to be who gets an interception and puts their team in the red zone. What turnover are we going to see that's going to be critical? Could we see a special teams kick, where it's going to be the difference in the game? I think this is going to be less than a touchdown. I think the Seahawks have the edge.
We'll see what happens. Kevin, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Jason, my pleasure. Hey, by the way, we haven't talked about the Eagles or Chiefs. Something that we did a year ago.
I know. Last year, I don't know that the conversation would have been as cordial.
No, not at all, but it would have been a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you.
You know what? Maybe next year. You know what? We'll meet in L.A. for Eagles and Chiefs.
Fingers crossed, I will be ready.
Part 3.
That would be fantastic.
For the ultimate who's the better franchise.
Sign me up.
Part 3. Me too. I don't care who's the opponent. I've joked with people this week. I'm like, all right, we're at the Super Bowl. What do you think of the Chiefs' opponent? Oh, crap. That's right. It's different. Kevin, thank you so much.
Jason,
I appreciate
thank you.
it.
Be
Absolutely.
well.
Yes, you too. There's Kevin Nagandi joining us. More Zone right after this. You hanging out at Radio Row, Super Bowl 60 coming up on Sunday, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB via Westwood One. And we had this man on last year, and I introduced him like this, and I'm going to do it again because, damn it, it's too much fun. The Zone is presented by Intuit and TurboTax, by Gillette, Barbasol, and now your host, Scott Graham.
That is a good David Lee.
We tried it. The guy that does the show after us is a big voice guy. He does a impeccable David Lee, and every once in a while he'll act like David Lee at like a drive-through. I'll take a number 4 with ketchup.
Perfect.
No mayonnaise. Large Coke. It's very good.
It's good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. How are you doing?
I'm good. You know, it's Super Bowl week, running around doing what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got, I want to congratulate you. I've been congratulating everybody individually because I couldn't believe that they were the ones that picked Seahawks and Patriots before the season.
Thank you.
So congratulations, Scott.
Well, honestly, it took a lot of work over the course of the preseason, and I'm proud of that pick.
Yes.
And I have audio of it somewhere, and I'll send it to you as soon as I can find it.
Yeah, the audio with our station got corrupted on that day, and it was weird.
I feel like mine might be lost too, but I'll find it.
Yes, absolutely. What do you think of this this matchup? Like it's not what we've seen recently. I don't know that it's different, but that's fine. But what do you think of it?
I think it's maybe the beginning of something new.
Okay.
I think both of these teams have the ability to do this for a little while, especially when when you've got a young quarterback like Drake May, when you've got a team that's bought in the way they have with Mike Vrabel. I have a feeling that this is not going to be the end of what we see out of the Patriots. And this Seahawks team, depending upon age at certain positions and some of the pieces that they add offensively, they could be doing this for a while too. Yeah. So I think this could be the beginning of something. You start to take a look at what Mike McDonald has done his first 2 seasons, and people forget they didn't make the playoffs last year, but I think they started 8-3 last year. This is a really good coach with a really good defensive scheme that his players have bought into, and I'm surprised by what we're seeing. If you're talking to the September Scott Graham, I'm not surprised by what we're seeing if you talk to the December Scott Graham.
No, that makes total sense. And it's from the Seahawks perspective, going into last offseason where you're saying, they start 8-3, they could have very easily said, you know what, we started off this way. This is who we are. We're going to go and keep this thing together and build off of that. Instead, it was moving on from Geno, going to sign Sam Darnold, trading DK Metcalf, and sort of revamping a lot of things, bringing in, a new quarterback and all they've done is take those moves, and now they're in the Super Bowl. I think a less aggressive or maybe braver, for lack of a better term, team could have been, we're going to rest on our laurels. We're going to be better next year with this group. Let's just go and be better after those first 11 games.
And they're doing it without, it doesn't feel like that there are multiple offensive can take it to the house any second weapons, right? This doesn't sound like a group that is filled with options for, well, we give it to this guy, he can take it all the way. Obviously, JSN is a gigantic part of what they do. Yeah. But they've got a running back who is capable of putting the team on his shoulders when necessary. And Sam Darnold is more of a gunslinger at this point in his career than I thought he would be based upon how he started. You get somebody who starts the way he does and he's seeing ghosts and you shrink back.
Yeah.
And he hasn't. And I think that year in Minnesota did a lot for him in that way. And part of the interview that we'll have sometime right before kickoff time with Jackson Smith and Jigba, he told me he's a gunslinger. He is ready to let it rip, and he loves the fact that he's playing with Sam Darnold, who's a guy who comes with no noise. If there's a mistake, turn the page, next play.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and it's probably difficult for Sam Darnold to be able to do that. Like, I wonder, from a guy that was seeing ghosts and, in Carolina for a little bit and then, San Francisco and Minnesota, and you weren't the starter, like, how easy is it just to say, you know what, that was a bad play, move on to the next one, instead of going, well, here we go again.
Well, and I think that's the arc of a successful story from where he came from, as opposed to if this had been one of those, hey, remember Sam Darnold? I think that's a big part of it. And you start looking at the one that got me, that I was thinking about as we were leading up to the championship games. the first of that draft class to go to the Super Bowl, the draft class that included Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Baker as the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
And this is the first guy to go to the Super Bowl.
Why'd you leave out Josh Rosen? I mean, come on.
It was a choice.
It was a choice. That was also a choice the Cardinals made. It was a choice.
Yep.
That was certainly, out of all the quarterbacks they selected, he was one of them.
Yeah, he certainly was.
He was certainly one of those quarterbacks. Visiting with Scott Graham from Westwood One here as we look ahead to the Super Bowl coming up this weekend with Patriots and with the Seattle Seahawks. And, I mean, it's just the defensive side of it, I think, has been a fascinating year to watch and to see it from that development. That's so much about offense. And now we have what will be the first sort of defensive first head coach to win a Super Bowl not named Bill Belichick since Mike Tomlin. I mean, it's been so long. It's been Belichick or offensive guys so much. And now we're guaranteed to have at least a defensive-minded guy win a Super Bowl.
And it would stun me if this game weren't the under. I mean, based upon where we are, based upon Drake May being where he is in his second year of development, being Sam Darnold in his first game on the big stage, I'd be stunned if this was not a low-scoring game. I think the emphasis on defense, the way that the Seahawks, first of all, the sheer number of points that they've allowed to anybody not named the Rams since Thanksgiving. I mean, his defensive front, the way it shows itself and then the way it changes at the snap, it's kind of like an amoeba. And the players love playing it, and there's going to be some confusion there, I'm sure, for Drake May in the game, which, you would assume he'll adjust to. And the Patriots defense has risen to the occasion. At the beginning of the year, they were struggling specifically in the red zone, maybe even for the first half of the season. Teams got into the red zone, and they were going to score. And they've kind of clamped down a bit on that. They're opportunistic. I think we're going to see a defensive game.
Yeah. Speaking of the Patriots, Scott Graham is our guest, Westwood One. Mike Vrabel spends a year out of football after whatever happened in Tennessee. And boy, I mean, the people in Tennessee have to be loving the fact that Mike Vrabel has taken the Patriots to the Super Bowl. But I mean, we see what happens when you get the right guy in as the head coach. And I think we get a pretty decent idea of seeing what the coaching is all about, because Josh McDaniels knows what he's doing. Clearly, Mike Vrabel knows what he's doing. Mike Macdonald knows what he's doing. I mean, there are people in Baltimore that went, oh, my God, 2 years ago, we could have had Mike Macdonald, moving on from Harbaugh anyway. Like, there is a world where Tennessee is Mike Vrabel's still with Tennessee and Mike Macdonald's the coach of the Baltimore Ravens. But it's not the world we're living in. And I think we get an idea of Vrabel being there in New England and taking a team that's, a 4-win team to being where they are now, is how quickly it can change when you've got the right guys around the players.
He has created, it's the biggest cliche in sports that he was going to create a culture. He did. And if you talk to his players, to a man, first of all, they love playing for him. Second of all, he is a disciplinarian. He is going to hold you accountable. That's what he comes from, back from when the guy on the sideline with the hoodie was coaching him.
That's right, yeah.
But there's a personal element to it. And we've seen it with the shaking hands with everybody as they come in off the field into the locker room.
Yeah.
There's a personal relationship with players that they have latched onto for him. I mean, he's still the worst trash talker in the entire world and always was. But he also cares about you. And listening to Drake May, who I talked to for our pregame show, he said, I don't know that I felt that, that fuzzy thing from him at the very beginning, but I feel it now.
Interesting, yeah, because, you wonder did he feel that from Josh McDaniels? Like, I don't know, like, was it maybe that more from him because that's who you're working closer with, as opposed to, like, Kubiak and Mendoza when they're together, or Kubiak and Darnold, or whatever it might be. I'm not sure, but.
Whatever they're doing right now, they're doing it right.
Absolutely. Obviously, you've been going around giving your selection as who you think's going to win. I mean, that's clear with Westwood One and, pre and post and halftime and everything.
I'm going to my next interview now, right?
It's I will ask this: if a team wins, what happened in the game?
I'll give a pick.
Sure.
I mean, I've done this before. I've given picks before. I've generally been pretty close to right a lot of the time. Are we recording this? I think it's a defensive game, and I don't pay much attention to the betting lines. I don't know what the over/under is, but this feels like it's hearkening back to the days of some games that never made it out of the teens. I think we will get to the teens. I feel like 20-17 Seattle.
All right.
And
I like a score to go along with it.
It would surprise me if this game turned out to be a 34-31 shootout.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's no way that Seattle wins this game unless Jackson Smith and Jigba, who may be held down for a good part of the game, makes some play that we're going to remember.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Scott Graham, Westwood One. Great stuff. Really appreciate the time, as always, to talk to you here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. There's Scott Graham joining us here on Radio Row at Sports Radio 810 WHB as we continue rolling. We will have all of the things you heard, the interviews that they'll have with Drake May and the different coaches as our coverage starting at, 8 o'clock in the morning. They've got on ESPN, they've got all those things, but Westwood One, tons and tons of previews and pre-games along the way for the game and the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday. We have all of that for you as well right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. So certainly appreciate Scott Graham. I never know when those that are working with Westwood One, I never know if they can give a prediction or not. Never really sure. So I'm always like, well, if you could give a prediction, what do you think will happen here? Who will win? What do you think's going to take place? But he can give a prediction. So, it's he's got Seattle. That is now undefeated. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people already. 11-0. 11-0 is what it is so far for the Seahawks over the Patriots. We're going to be joined by Jeff Garcia here very shortly and talk with him. Looking forward to that because here's the thing. We talk about Drake May and we talk about there's going to be a time maybe one day where Patrick Mahomes is no longer playing, and somebody's going to have to be the guy that replaces the guy. Jeff Garcia was the guy that replaced the guy in San Francisco. Joe Montana to Steve Young, and then Jeff Garcia, along the way as well. 4-time Pro Bowler, pro career for 18 years, including obviously with the San Francisco 49ers. And having to deal with, like we talked about, being the guy in San Francisco, it's like they've had Joe Montana, they've had Steve Young, they've had all of those things. We'll see what his, life as watching some of these quarterbacks looks like. He played for, Andy Reid a couple of different times, in his time there. So we'll talk with him here in just a little bit. And then, I think that may be it for Radio Row today after we talk with him, unless somebody else stops by. We're going to, we mentioned Tyquan Thornton a little bit earlier, somebody that we were going to stop, or we're going to, talk with. He was going to stop by and have him on, but we don't know if it's going to be before the show today or maybe tomorrow that he'll be around here and on the show with us. So certainly would want to talk with him. We talked with Trey Smith earlier. That was pretty cool. So being able to do that and have him on the show and get his thoughts on Eric Bieniemy and some things like that was really cool. So that was awesome of him to stop by to talk about some of those things as well. Program comes up at 2 o'clock, and as we're dancing, because Jeff Garcia is now getting ready to sit down with us, and we'll do a little bit more tap dancing as well here on Radio Row on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kevin Nagandi and Scott Graham and the other different guests that we have had on here on Radio Row. And right now talking with Jeff Garcia joining us here in the zone on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I am doing just fine. I appreciate you joining us and coming on the show today. Are you still in the area?
I do not live in the area.
Okay.
Family's all here.
Okay.
So when I come back, it's good to reconnect with my family, but
Yeah.
I'm in Southern California.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
an
a big
easy
deal.
trip.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like, what, an hour and a half from here? Probably just
Flight? Yeah.
Oh,
Very
flight. I was
yeah, no,
driving.
it's an hour.
Walking.
It's an hour flight. It's about
not
an
bad.
8-hour drive, you know. So
we were on the shuttle on Monday night from here to San Jose for opening night, and that was an hour 40 on the shuttle to get down there.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay,
With
that's
traffic can be brutal, man.
Yeah.
And I grew up just south of San Jose in a little town.
Okay.
30 miles south of there.
Yeah, 'cause
so.
you went to San Jose State, right?
I did.
Yeah,
yes.
that's awesome. You know, coming from San Jose State to, you know, realize your dream as a quarterback and a four-time Pro Bowler is pretty
good
awesome,
stuff.
man.
Yep.
Talk to me about what's going on with Revive that you got here.
I've been fortunate enough to teammate with this great group. Mueller Sports Medicine's been around athletics for 66 years, and their Revive line, I use at home. It's the inflatable boots that you slip on your legs. They have the harness for your shoulder. They have different products for your body, but it really helps circulation, and it helps revamp the blood flow through your body. If you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with swelling, it'll help bring down swelling. They even have a migraine headache headband that you can wrap around your head. I know I have kids, daughter that struggles with migraines, so it'll be a great asset for her. But this group has been around in the game, in training rooms. They keep revitalizing the products, integrating, improving, and these are products not just for professional athletes, but for everyday people. Because we all deal with some sort of pain. We all deal with some sort of swelling. We all deal with some sort of discomfort. And this could help alleviate some of that.
Yeah, because as you get older, you know, the years of being a weekend warrior, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Those that didn't play the game at the high level like you, and it's like, oh, you know, I got this, my shoulder, my elbow, from what?
Oh, believe me, I'm a weekend warrior now myself, and I do not recover like I did when I was back in my heyday. As age creeps up on us, man, our mentality is still to get out there and compete.
Yeah.
But our body's not reacting like our minds want us to.
No doubt.
And so the pain definitely sets in a lot sooner and a lot longer than what it used to.
Yeah, Jeff Garcia is our guest. One of the things that I was interested in talking to you about is, you know, the Patriots have Drake May, and he didn't exactly go from Tom Brady to Drake May. There was a little bit in between there before they drafted Drake May. But you draft him in the first round, and Patriots fans are hoping this is our next Tom Brady. You didn't have the luxury of like any time between. It was Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jeff Garcia. And I've always wondered, like, from you know, somebody like yourself stepping into that role and replacing those guys and being the next starting quarterback for the 49ers, I mean, is there a way to be able to actually just play the game without putting an immense amount of pressure on yourself to be Steve Young or to be Joe Montana when you're there?
It's hard to do initially, especially because that was a lineage of greatness, of Hall of Fame caliber play, Super Bowl titles, all the things. And now I'm expected to maintain that. And I expect that of myself.
Yeah.
Believe me, I want the best and the most out of my abilities to help lead this team. But I also can't be those guys. I have to be myself in how I play the game. And I had to learn early on in that first year when I stepped onto the field that most eyes that were looking at me were wondering exactly what I was capable of doing, first and foremost. But when the team started to struggle, the major difference was that we don't have Joe Montana or Steve Young leading us. It's this guy, Jeff Garcia. So I was shouldering a lot of that burden initially until I learned how to alleviate that pressure and have the mindset of not caring about the outside noise and really focus on what my role is, what my job is, being a leader for this team, encompassing my teammates and getting them involved. Allow your teammates, your players to help you out. You can't do it alone. You can't expect perfection. You're striving for perfection, and that starts in practice. That starts in your approach to your work habit and your daily grind. And then on game day, it's just got to be reaction. It's just got to happen, you know, because you've done all the preparation to where now you can just let loose and play. And there were times in that first year I was not let loose and play, and I was like questioning my decision making. I was questioning everything because I was trying to be so perfect to help this team win and be Steve Young or be Joe Montana that it was backfiring in any sort of way. Now, Drake, comes into a situation where we know what the expectation of the New England Patriots is because of what Tom Brady did for 2 decades. That being said, he comes into a team that has gone through some turnover, some change, some struggle, and then he gets a coach, fortunately for him this year. Not that Mayo didn't go through any of that, but Vrabel has professional experience as a coach. Has won at Tennessee, has turned a team around, has been a part of the great structure of the New England Patriots of the past, and now comes back and infiltrate and brings that. And Drake May, being a talented young man, is probably coached and told, especially having the same coach that Tom Brady had, that, hey, man, let your teammates help you. It's not all on you. Learn the system, be good about the system, understand the mentality of how we operate the system, but we don't expect you to make every play. That's why you have teammates. And he's done a great job of doing that.
Jeff Garcia is our guest. You talked about like getting your teammates involved and being a leader and everything happening on the field from all of the repetition that you have in practice. How difficult is that? Like, again, from Joe Montana to Steve Young, Mariucci's still the coach. So as you said, like, the only difference is it's not Steve Young, it's now Jeff Garcia. You fill in that role. Quarterbacks are expected to be the leaders. Like, you're there and you're going to lead the team as the quarterback. It's just a natural expectation. But NFL players aren't just going to follow somebody that they don't believe in.
Right.
So I've always wondered, like, from a young guy like Drake May or, Patrick Mahomes when he learned for 1 year under Alex Smith and then took over as the quarterback, or yourself, you get there to San Francisco. Like, it can't be easy just to be like, no, I'm the leader now. And they're like, I don't know you. I have no idea what you're about. Trying to establish that no, there's a reason you need to follow me. There's a reason you need to believe in me as the quarterback because I can lead this team, and trying to go about gaining those players' trust.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. You have to earn their trust through your work ethic, through your dedication to learning the system, to then transitioning that and translating that from the classroom onto the field, showing that you're capable of making the plays, giving the playmakers opportunities to make plays. You're not going to screw it up. You're not going to be wide-eyed and deer in the headlights in the huddle. I mean, you command the huddle. You spit it out the way that it's need to be spit out as far as the terminology is concerned. You go up, you make good decisions, and it takes time to earn that trust from your teammates. And I went from Steve Young being our starter, and I was going to learn from Steve and him being our leader, to now he suffers a concussion. It turns out to be the last game he plays in the National Football League. He's dealing with that on the side, his own life, how he's going to either come back or take a break from the game, or what's going on with Steve. He kind of separates himself. So we no longer have Steve as a leader in the locker room. He's kind of on the outside now dealing with his own situation. And I am being looked at as, well, you're the next guy up. What are you going to do for us? And the first game against the Tennessee Titans, I actually did some great things for us. But then the wheels started to fall off and the questions, the doubts started to creep in. And that's when I started to just wonder, am I even capable of playing at this level? Because I came from the Canadian Football League. I wasn't drafted out of college. Fortunately for me, I was much more mature at that time. I was 28, 29 years old. I had gone through some situations that I could overcome in certain ways, and it took getting benched for me to open my eyes up to the whole situation here. We're not the team, we're not the 49ers of the 80s and 90s. That team had gotten old, and we need to replace some of the pieces to the puzzle. And right now, we're going through a transition, and it can't fall all on you. When the backup quarterback went into play, he was just as bad as I was. And I was able to see that from the sideline and go, okay, it's not just the quarterback position. We got a lot of problems that need to be fixed here. So when I got the opportunity to step back on the field, I had a whole different mindset. I had relinquished some of that pressure of trying to just be perfect, trying to be Steve, run the offense the way he runs it. No, just be me. Relax. Hey, take the decision that they give you. You know how to operate the field. You know how to operate as the quarterback. You've been in championship games. Play this game, this position for 20 years of your life. Yes, things happen faster. There's bigger, better athletes around you, but you are here for a reason because you've earned it. Somebody believes in you. Now take that to the field.
I was going to say, when did it turn for you to where you were talking about, can I play at this level? Am I good enough? Is it just Jeff Garcia is the reason why, this team isn't playing well? But when did it turn for you? Because you went to 4 Pro Bowls, as a quarterback, which, by the way, back then the Pro Bowl meant a little bit more.
It actually meant something.
Than what it is right now. To where I actually think, did you get a Pro Bowl invite this year?
I was an alternate. I was an alternate.
I think we both were. A lot of other
that
people.
being said, no, it really was. I sat down with Greg Knapp, who was my quarterback coach at the time. After those first 5 starts, I was 1-4, really struggling, and benched the week they decided to bring me back as a starter. He sat me down. He gave me a collection of plays where I had success. Hey, I had a good drop. I had a good decision. I had an accurate throw. 30, 40 plays. Watch this film, Jeff. I want you to watch this film, and I want you to remind yourself that you're capable of playing here. Now it's about your consistency. It's about being able to do it like playing golf, right? You can have a hell of a drive, but if your second shot isn't any good, well, then you're still in a crappy situation trying to make par or recover or whatever the case may be. Well, if you can't string together positive plays in a row, that's where the struggle truly becomes. You can't move the chains, then we're going to struggle as an offense. So that difference between my first 5 starts and my second 5 starts in that first year were remarkably different.
Wow.
2 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions my first 5 starts. That's reason to be benched. 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions my last 5 starts. The next year I throw for 4,200 yards. It's a record for the Niners. 31 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions. We don't win many more games, but our offense is playing so much better football. We're moving in the right direction. I go to the Pro Bowl. The next year, we make the playoffs. We're 12-4. So now we're turning it around again with a young team, with new faces. But I'm running the position, playing the position the way it's supposed to be played.
Jeff Garcia is our guest. What was it like playing for Andy Reid?
Andy was great, man. Andy, I went to Philly knowing that I'd be the backup. And I think at that point in my career, I was 36. I'd been in 2 tough spots in Cleveland and Detroit. I just wanted to be part of a winner, a team that could have a chance to win, whether I was the starter or not. Of course, it was hard accepting being a backup because I'm a competitor.
Yeah.
But that being said, I did get my chance, and unfortunately because of Donovan, but when I stepped on the field, Marty Morningwig was a guy who I was familiar with in San Fran. He was my offensive coordinator, so the offense was very similar. Terminology, all those things. I just had to go out and let Westbrook and all the playmakers make plays. Hey, let's give them opportunity to make plays and go do your thing. And, I did that, and it was a fun, great year. Experienced in that, winning the NFC East Division title in front of those Philly fans. And, it unfortunately was only 1 year. It led to a revival for me to go on the field and be a starter in Tampa. But I always have a connection with those Eagle fans.
That's awesome. Jeff Garcia, who do you think wins?
I'm leaning towards Seattle.
Okay.
I like the story with Darnold. I like just the overall team. Both teams are 14-3 teams. Regular season, they're both great teams, but I like Seattle's story.
ReviveAward.com. There's the award that's out there. It's Revive with the Mueller Sports Group. Thank you so much, Jeff, for stopping by.
You got it, man. Absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. There's Jeff Garcia joining us. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, wrap up the show coming up next. We are in San Francisco, joined now by Tyquan Thornton here in the zone with us. Tyquan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I am good, man. You look good.
Thank you.
You
Man.
look
Same,
good,
bro.
man.
Same.
What do you? Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment. What are you doing around here at Radio Row, man? It's good to see you.
Man, I'm just out here, man, getting the experience, man. Just interacting with some people, man, and having fun.
Yes, Tyquan Thornton. Your life now, post this season, wasn't the season you guys wanted, certainly with only 6 wins, but where you're at in your career. I know going into free agency and all of that stuff, but from the season you had, from where you were with the Patriots, how you feeling about yourself?
And I'm feeling good, man. I feel like, I'm just scratching the surface right now. I mean, I got a lot more to show, improve to myself, man. And right now I'm feeling good with what I put on tape, this past season, and just want to capitalize and build on it.
Why do you think it worked in Kansas City the way that maybe it didn't necessarily click in New England?
Just getting an opportunity, and getting those chances, to go out there and make plays, or even if it's on a practice field, just going out there and just getting them reps and them live reps and stuff like that. I feel like the plays that I made this year, I made those routine plays that like I made in practice consistently. So just, just going out there, taking the practice and applying it to a game like situation.
How difficult, I guess, difficult might be the wrong word, but for you, because you had talked about in training camp that said, I've had good training camps with New England before.
Yeah.
I've got to translate this to the field. That was something you were clearly conscious of and aware of being able to do that. So what was it like for you when that started to translate on the field?
Man, it was just, confirmation to myself, like, okay, like the work that you're putting in is definitely, showing now. So now it's about, how can I be better? How can I be more dominant? How can I be the best version of Tyquan? So when my number is called, at any situation, I can be able to go out there and perform.
When did you feel there was a connection developing with Patrick?
Last year when I signed with them in December, when I was on practice squad, I mean, we would have like, offensive periods where we just on air, and they would throw me out there after I learned the playbook and stuff like that. They'll throw me out there, and Pat would just come like, I'm probably not even a read. I mean, I shouldn't even say that because you're always the read when Pat's out there. So, but he'll just go out there and just chuck the ball down the field, and to see what I had, and I'll just run up under it and make the catch and stuff like that. And when I started seeing him, come to me more often during practice, I'm like, all right, he likes me. You feel me? So. And I was just, trying to make the catch every time he threw it.
You said something there. You're always the read when Pat is on the field.
Always.
When did you realize that?
Man, they told me that. I ain't believe them at first. When I first got there, they're like, "Hey, like don't take no plays off. Like he's gonna test you. He's looking for you or whatever." And I'm like, so one day we was having a jog through, and we were literally jogging, and I'm like on the backside post, and he's rolling to the right. And he just launched it like about 30 yards in front of me. And I'm jogging like Troutman. Had to pick it up. I chased it down, caught the ball, made the catch or whatever. I'm like, dang, we didn't even scratch. You feel me? So, I mean, that's when I knew right then and there, like, all right, when I'm out there, like, and I feel like that helped me, though, along the way because now, like, it raised my standards, like, so high. Like, so while I'm out there, is every time, like, you can respect the ball.
Yeah, Tyquan Thornton is our guest. Your star grew with it. Could you feel the fans around you as the weeks went on about how big you were becoming with the Chiefs and the fans, and how much of a fan favorite you were becoming as a target for Patrick?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I was, it started in training camp. After every play, I'll make a play, make a catch. And I'll go to the little fans, a young kid, throw the ball with them and stuff like that. Because, I mean, I know Kansas City, they got a big fan base and very proud fans, too. So I just wanted to make sure I, interact with them and go out there and, perform my best.
Do you remember when you were a kid maybe watching that? Is that maybe you're putting yourself in their shoes with that football?
Yeah, definitely, man. You never know, man. You could just pat the kid, man, and just by, throwing the ball to him. That's the least I could do.
Yeah, I told we had Trey Smith on earlier. I told him off the air that he had a softball charity event a couple of summers ago, and my son was there. Yeah. And Trey Smith walked by and looked at my son. He's like, "What's up, little man?" And gave him a fist bump. Uh-huh. Biggest thing ever. Yeah, biggest thing ever. And Trey Smith was just walking by, doesn't even know that would impact, that kid's life like that, and so now you get that opportunity, which has to be pretty cool, man.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool.
Tyquan Thornton is our guest. You're now a free agent. What's life like for you now with trying to figure out where your next move is?
Oh, man. No, I just want to take the time to just like sit back and, you know what I'm saying? Like this is my first time doing this, so like
Yeah.
everything is new to me. Like this is my first time at Radio Row. Like so everything is new to me, but I'm just take the time to like focus on myself, and just continue to just grind and get better and let that take care of itself,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Have there been any talks between you and the Chiefs about coming back?
I think that's between like them and my agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you want to be back in Kansas
Yeah,
City?
I would definitely want to be back to Kansas City, but I mean, I want to wherever I go, I want to have my fair share of targets, go out there and contribute,
Yeah.
and play at a high level.
You think you can get that in Kansas City, your fair share of targets, if you showed this year what you can do and maybe be incorporated more into the offense in the offseason?
Yes, for sure. Definitely, I feel like that.
Yeah. Tyquan Thornton is our guest. What do you think of when you look back on the season? Because team-wise, maybe not as great, but individually had a great year.
I think it was just sign of growth, maturity, and just going out there and just knocking the dust off.
Yeah.
Because going from New England, it didn't go pretty well. Then signing practice squad, so I just had to, grind, put my head down and work, get out the mud a little bit, and find myself again. You know what I'm saying, and get comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. The lead, I feel like I wasn't comfortable when I was in New England because I never got that chance to get in my groove. So,
Yeah.
but this past season, I feel like I was able to get in my groove, and I feel like that's really what it's all about in this league. Just getting into your groove and finding that confidence, finding that joy in making plays, and just going out there and doing it like every week. So once you get to a hot start, it's like if you got the hot hand, you let him keep rolling. Ain't no telling what this guy's gonna do. So.
Do you have a favorite play from last year?
Yeah, I do. I would say it was the Giants play.
I was going to say that with the arm in the air.
Yeah, that was
yes.
the play for sure because the play before
You had that.
I
man.
had it, but the ball moved and right over touched the ground, and right then and there, that was like a slight where I had a little. All right, bet. It kind of felt like New England a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't make that play. I almost got down on myself till the next play. I hear the next play, and I'm like, all right, we know they play man. Let's make up for it.
Yeah, you got a
And
chance. Pat may throw it to me.
Pat may throw it to me. Don't forget. So clear it.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I was with New England, I would make a bad play and dwell on it, But now it's like you got to grow from that. You can't do the same thing
Yeah.
that you was doing in New England. So, I ran my route, and Pat put it up there, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to make this catch wherever it's at. And once I did, it was like, I'm taking off now.
That
like,
was-
I'm gone. Like,
Yeah,
I done grew.
It was such a big play and in the game too, and as you mentioned, the play before when you had the ball and it just barely falls out. What did it mean to you that Pat came right back to you?
I had a feeling he was going to come back to me.
Okay.
Because it's something that he would do in practice. Like, he always expect the best from you. You know what I'm saying? So, and he know that, I go out there and make those plays because he seen me do it in practice. Get what I'm saying? So, I appreciate him for throwing me that pass, the second play, afterwards, because I was able to make up for the one before.
That's I mean, do you ever go back and watch it, or just the still shot of you with your hand in the air?
The picture. I just
Do you have
posted
the
it
picture?
recently. Yeah, I posted it on my Instagram probably last night or yesterday.
You got to have that like in a man cave, right?
Yeah,
like blown
yeah,
up
yeah.
and
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
'Cause
you need to get the defensive back to sign it. I don't remember who the D-back was.
I think the Phillips guy, but shout out to him. He's a good player. But that definitely was a moment that I showed growth. And
Yeah.
that's was probably my proudest moment right then and there.
I think that was the moment where Chiefs fans were like, okay, he's real. Like, it's not just like, there's like a deep threat to it. No, he tracked the ball. He caught the ball. He made the contested catch. It's not just run straight down the field and catch it,
sure.
Have you viewed yourself as do you think you were sort of pigeonholed as well, Tyquan, he's a speed guy. He's just going to run nines. Just go routes where you may feel like you can be more of an all-around receiver.
Yeah, I feel like since I got into the league, it's been that. I don't know why, but it always been that since I've been in the league. Like, all right, yeah, you're a 4-2 guy. We're just gonna stretch you down the field. I love going deep now.
Yeah.
I can go deep for sure, but in all my training camps that I've been in, when we do one-on-ones, 1-versus-1s, I'm not doing deep balls. You get what I'm saying? I'm trying to run real routes
Yeah.
to show you that I know I'm 4'2", but I also can, turn it on, turn it off. You know what I'm saying? And show that savviness within my routes to create separation. And I've done that. You get what I'm saying? So for you to see me do these in one-on-ones and still put me in that category, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
I get it. Yeah,
selling myself short. I can do way more than just go deep.
Yeah. Tracking the ball, though. That's
my specialty, though. I love tracking the ball.
Did you play wide? Did you play not wide receiver? Did you play in the outfield in baseball or anything? Is that just natural instinct to go and track it like that?
No, I just always when I was younger, growing up in Miami, we used to we call it take somebody deep. You take them deep, bomb them, and so you got to track the ball over your head. You know what I'm saying? So I used to always trying to work on the most craziest angles to catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I kind of made that one of my skill sets. So whereas you rarely going to catch the ball this, but if I were able to show it off in the game, it's gonna be wow, how he did that. Because a lot of people can't.
Taekwon, best of luck to you, man. Appreciate it. Hopefully you're back with the Chiefs next year, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There you go, Taekwon Thornton. We will get out of here now. Hand it over to the program coming up next.
Vision.org. Start